Hey guys, Joy here. This is a Figma tutorial for complete beginners. And today, you and me, together, we're gonna make a complete responsive web design. Both for the desktop version, another one for the mobile version. So this is the home page of our desktop version. So do you see this nav items over here? Home, teachers, contact us, sign in. According to this nav items, we have 4 pages, okay? Let me walk you through all the pages and sections, okay? So this is the home page, I mean the landing page over here. And then if I scroll down, then we're gonna find this section over here, and then this section over here, our offered courses. This is an education website, okay? And then if I scroll down, then you're gonna find this over here, and then lastly we have this footer over here. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. And this is the teachers section over here, you can see that. So this is the teachers section over here. We're gonna make some cards over here along with some buttons, and we're gonna also work with SVGs. This is the footer over here for this page, and then we have this contact us page over here, you can see that. So we're gonna also work with icons. Do you see these icons over here? We're gonna work with them and also make some forms over here as well. You can check out the sign up page over here as well. This is the last page. You can download this entire Figma file through the link in the description down below. So once you download the Figma file, you're gonna find all of these pages over here. So this carries the desktop design, I mean this one over here, and this one carries the mobile design. Look at that, we have the mobile design over here, okay? So this is our home page. Let me walk you through this, okay? So this is the home page over here, and these are the style guides, I mean the typographic guides that we're gonna follow, okay? What will be the font size of the logo, font size of the large text, font size of the button text, etc. Every design carries this style guide, okay? Let me show you. The mobile carries the style guide, the tablet design carries this style guide as well. The laptop design also carries this style guide over here. And the desktop version, this one, look at this, at the very top we're gonna find this style guide over here. So once you download the Figma file, you're gonna find all of these pages over here. You see this? The desktop carries the design for the desktop version, and the mobile page carries the design for the mobile version, okay? So I'm gonna click over here. Also, you're gonna find design for the laptop and the tablet version as well over here. So this is the web design for the mobile version, okay? Let me actually zoom in a little bit, like that, look at that. This is our home page over here, and then this is the next section, third section, fourth section, and this is our footer over here, okay? Let me zoom in a little bit, there we go. And then we have our social media icons over here as well. And then look at this teacher section over here. And this is the rest of the design. So today, you and me, together, we're gonna design the desktop version, okay, this one, and the mobile version. Do you see this laptop and tablet? This is your homework. After this tutorial, you're gonna practice over here, okay? You're gonna make this web design for the tablet version, and also you're gonna make the web design for the laptop version as well, okay? So these two are your homeworks. This entire video is divided according to these chapters over here. This one over here. You're gonna find the timestamps on the description down below. So first of all, we're going to look at all the tools Figma carries. So once we have covered all the tools Figma carries, then we're going to start making our responsive web design for the desktop version first. And then we're going to start making the web design for the mobile version. By the way, this entire video is made for beginners who doesn't know anything about Figma. So we're going to start from scratch. I will not use any plugins, libraries or design systems, just plainly from scratch. We're going to use all the tools that Figma provided, and we're going to make the design using those tools only. If this video gets at least 2000 likes, then I'm gonna make another video, advanced level Figma tutorial, where I'll be covering how to make a web design using the design system, plugins, libraries, prototypes, and also how to save time as well. So hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button so that your brother can afford a Maruti Suzuki 800. This one. Also note that these are our breakpoints, okay? For the desktop version, it is 1440 pixels, okay? And for the laptop version, it is 1024 pixels. And for the tablet version, this is 768 pixels. And for the mobile version, I have picked the 414 pixels, which is the width of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Alright, then this video will start according to these chapters over here. First of all, you're gonna open any web browser, okay? And you're gonna type figma.com. Figma.com, like that, hit enter. You're gonna find this interface over here, and then you can log in or you can sign up if you don't have an account, okay? So I have an account, then I'm gonna log in over here, like that. I'm gonna use Google over here. So once you have signed up, you're gonna find this interface over here, okay? Let me explain this in short, okay? So all of these are your draft, the projects that you are working on, okay? Let me actually scroll down a little bit so that I can show you some of my projects over here. Okay, like that. And this one over here, do you see this? This is used to create a new draft file. I mean a new project. And over here, on this section over here, you're going to find some templates over here in order to save your time, okay? You can scroll down and see all of these templates over here as well. If you want to download Figma for the desktop version, you can do it as well. You're going to click this over here on your profile icon, okay? Like that. And then you're going to click this, Get Desktop App. And then it's going to automatically download Figma for you. Alright, now I'm going to show you this community tab over here, okay? I'm going to click this, or what you can do is you can come over here and you can click this community over here. And it's going to bring you over here. So this community tab contains works of other people so that you can download and use for your own purposes, okay? Let me scroll down a little bit. So you're going to find this. So these are the trending files over here. You're going to find various assets over here, various design systems, okay? So look at this over here. These are various icons that you can download and use on your projects. So like that, we have tons of resources published by other people for completely free. Alright, so I'm gonna scroll down so that you can look more, okay? And then at the very top over here, these are your filters, okay? If you want just plugins, if you want to just look at plugins, you can click over here. Or perhaps you want to see some illustrations, okay? You're gonna click this illustrations over here, and then you're gonna find various illustrations, various digital assets. Okay, like that. For instance, let's say that, look at this illustration over here. If I click over here, if you want to use this for your project, what you're going to do is you're going to click this duplicate option, okay, like this. And it's going to give you a copy to your Figma file. And you can navigate the designs, navigate the assets through these pages over here, okay, like the components. Look at all of these components over here. So you got this for completely free. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit so that I can show you various design assets. And if I want to change the background color, I can also do it by this. Look at that. From purple to white, like this. Now look at my designs over here, okay? Look at these models over here that I can use for my projects, okay? Like this. Okay, I can zoom in and zoom out at various assets over here, like that. Look at all of these assets. Along with those people illustrations, I also get this over here. Look at this. In order to go back to your profile from the community tab, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here, okay? And then you're gonna click on your profile like this, and you're gonna come back to your Figma dashboard over here. So this is our practice project. I have included a link in the description down below. You click that and you're gonna come over here. So once you come over here, you're gonna click this duplicate option, okay? So if you click on this duplicate, then it's gonna duplicate you a project on your profile like this. First of all, let's inspect what we have on our left panel over here. You see this panel over here? So you see these layers over here? These layers represents all of these layers that we have over here. And these assets over here, I'm going to discuss in details about this one when I am discussing about the components part. This one over here, part number 9. Alright, I'm going to come back to layers over here. And this one represents all my pages, okay? So these are all my pages over here. If I click this over here, it's going to hide my pages. If I click it back, it's going to show me all the pages that I have. If you want to create a new page, then you can click this plus sign over here and you can name it whatever you want. Like I'm going to name page 1 over here like this, and I'm going to hit enter. If you want to delete a page, then you can just right click over here and delete this like that. Or perhaps if you want to rename it, then you can click this over here. So I'm going to delete this, okay? I don't need it. So all our designs are arranged into these pages over here. First of all, you have the start button over here. Start page over here. You can see this. So you can see this thumbnail over here, the topics covered page over here, the breakpoints over here. And if I come to this desktop page, you're going to find the web design for the desktop version, okay? If I click this laptop over here, you're going to find the design for this laptop version, okay? Similarly, for the tablet as well, this is the design for the tablet version. This is the mobile version. This one is the responsive test. I'm going to discuss about this part when I'm discussing the constraints property. This one, part number 8. I have included a small sample on this page over here so that you can test how prototypes work in Figma. So I'm going to discuss prototypes in part number 5. And this page, the assets page, carries all our assets, all our illustrations and social media icons. We're going to make our web design using all of these assets over here. And this section, the credit section, carries all the links from where I have downloaded the illustrations, okay? So you can see this over here. If you double click over here like this, then you can copy this link and you can go to that link and see the original source of the illustrations. Alright then, I'm back to the start page over here. And now over here, I'm going to create a new frame, okay? By the way, all our designs are arranged into frames, okay? If I hit F, or if I click this over here, this frame button, don't worry, I'm going to discuss in details about all the tools on this top panel and on this right panel over here, okay? If I select this frame over here and if I drag it like this, like that, okay? By the way, regarding the basic movements, you can use your mouse scroll to go top to bottom like this, okay? If you hit shift and scroll your mouse wheel, you can go left to right like this, okay? If you hit control and if you use your mouse scroll, then you can go zoom in and zoom out like this. Look at that. Alright then, so I'm back over here on this frame over here. All our design, all our elements are arranged into frames, okay? Let's say that I have a circle, okay? I'm gonna hit O and I'm gonna draw a circle over here like this. Look at that. And now I'm gonna create a rectangle, okay? If I hit R on my keyboard, then I can draw a rectangle over here like this. Let's say that I want some text, okay? If I hit T on my keyboard and click over here, then I can write text, okay? Like this. Control A, and you increase the font size over here to 50, not 50, let's say 200, okay? Like that. Look at that. We have some text over here as well. And so look over here, this is our frame, okay? And this frame carries all our elements over here. This ellipse over here, you see this ellipse, it gets highlighted in blue. You can see this blue highlighted color, okay? If I highlight the rectangle, look at this, I'm selecting the rectangle, okay? If I select the text over here like this, look, it gets highlighted over here. And do you see these two buttons over here? If I click this, then it's gonna hide me the frame like this. Look at that. Okay, now look at this, I can move this frame anywhere I want, okay? If I do it like this, look at that. But if you want to lock the position of this frame, what you can do is you're gonna click this over here, the frame, or you can just click on the name over here. You see this frame number 52. I'm gonna click this on the name, and then I'm gonna click this lock button over here. Then it's gonna lock me the position. It's not gonna move from its position. It's gonna stay fixed over here, including all the assets that is carried on the frame. Now look, I can't select the text, I can't select these shapes over here as well. It's gonna get locked over here. In order to unlock that, I'm gonna click this over here like this, unlock. Now I can move it and I can select all of these elements over here as well like that. So I'm gonna delete this frame over here like this. Alright, now we can keep our content inside our frame as it is, or we can also arrange them into groups. We can group them directly, or we can also use the auto layout option. So if I select all of them over here and if I right click over here, and we can get this option over here, auto layout, add auto layout. I'm going to discuss in details about this tool on part number 7 over here. So if I right click over here, then I'm going to get this add auto layout option. Along with that, I have this option, group selection. If I click on that, it's going to behave like a group, okay? If I remove my mouse and click over here outside this box, then look at this, it removes the blue outline. If I hover over here, look, all the elements gets highlighted, which means that it acts like a group, okay? So if I want to ungroup this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and Control Shift G like this. Now look, it will behave individually like that. Look at that. This is behaving individually. This one is behaving individually. There is one as well. Same thing goes for the auto layout option. Okay, now I'm going to select all of them again and I'm going to create a new group over here, okay? Group selection. Now look, it behaves like a group, okay? Let's say that you want to move. Okay, now let's say that you just want to select the rectangle and nothing else. So in these cases, what you have to do is you can double click on the rectangle like this. Then it's going to select just the rectangle over here. Or what you can do is you can hit Control on your keyboard, Control and click one time over here. Then it's going to select only the rectangle. If you want just only the text, you're going to select Control on your keyboard and just select the text over here like this. Or what you have to do is you're going to select this whole thing and then double click over here like this. Look at that. It's going to select our text over here. Now we're going to discuss in details about all the tools that is listed on the top bar over here, this one over here, and all the tools that is listed on the right side over here. So let's get started. Alright then, the very first thing that I want to talk about is the movement. How will you move back and forth in your Figma file, okay? So if you hit shift, and then if you scroll your mouse wheel, then you can go left and right like this. Look at that. Okay, so if you release the shift and just use your mouse scroll, then what you can do is you can just scroll top to the bottom like this. Look at that. Okay, so in order to go top to bottom, you're gonna use your mouse scroll like this. Okay, like that. And if you want to go to left to right, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit shift and then you're gonna scroll your mouse like that. Look at that, you're going left to right. If you want to zoom in and zoom out, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit control and then you're gonna use your mouse scroll like this. Look at that, I'm zooming out and then I'm zooming in like that. Look at that. Okay, and you can also use this hand tool over here. Okay, if you hover over here, or perhaps you can also use the H key on your keyboard like this, and then you can pinch your left mouse button, or you can just click over here and you can just move back and forth like this. Look at that. There we go. Let's talk about this feature over here. So if you click over here, you have two options, the move option and the scale option. First of all, let's look at the move option. Okay, so if I click this move option or shortcut V, okay, you can see all the shortcuts over here. V for move and scale, it is K. Okay, so I'm gonna select that move option over here, V. Okay, and then I'm gonna come over here and then I'm gonna select this frame. In order to select this frame, you're gonna select this name over here, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna move it like this. Look at that. You can move freely, independently, anywhere you want. Okay, you can select any frame you wish. For instance, let's say that I want to select this frame over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna move it anywhere I want like this. Look at that, I can move it like that. Not just frame, you can move any element. Okay, if you want to move this image, then you can also move it like this. Look at that, I have selected this and I'm gonna move it like that. Look at that, I can move it anywhere I want like that. Okay, Control Z. In order to make you understand the scale feature, I mean this one even better, first of all we need to look at the frame feature, this one, and the rectangle feature over here. So let's go. Alright, now I'm gonna come over here and let's discuss about the frame feature. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and then I'm gonna select this, or shortcut I'm gonna hit F. Okay, F like this, then you're gonna get all of these options over here. Okay, so do you know what these are? These are the screen width of various devices. Okay, so let's say that I want to work with mobile. Okay, so I'm gonna click this phone over here and look at this, I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and then you see this one over here, this measurement, this is the width and the height of the screen. Okay, I can also work with iPhone 8, iPhone SE, Google Pixel 2, etc. We have a lot of options over here. But if you don't want the phone, you can also go for the tablet. There we go. And if you want to work with the desktop, boom, there we go. And you can even also work with watch, like Apple Watch over here, and then we have social media post dimensions over here as well. But if you want to make something custom, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit F like this and then click over here like this, and you can drag this little icon over here anywhere you want, and you can just customize the width and height according to your needs. Okay, so now the next thing that I want to talk about is this one over here. Okay, so what is this? This is a frame. Okay, it's gonna show me that it is a frame. But if you want to change it, if you want to change the frame to a custom frame, let's say that I want to work with iPhone 11 Pro Max. Okay, I'm gonna select this. Now look, it's gonna change me the width and the height like that. Look at that. But if I want to work with, let's say we have Surface Pro 4. Okay, look at this predefined width and height. Okay, if I select this, then it's gonna give me that width and height. If I select this now, look, 1368 by 912 pixels. I mean 1368 is the width, 912 is the height, like that. Look at that. And also you can just drag like this according to your needs. Okay, you can adjust the width and height. Okay, so look at this X and Y, these are the coordinates. I mean, where is your frame located in your Figma file? This X and Y represents that. If you drag it like this, look at that, your frame is moving to the left, I mean to the right. Okay, if you want to move it to the left like this, then you can also do it like that. There we go. If you want to move it vertically, then you can do it with the Y-axis over here like that. And if you don't want that feature, then you can just drag your frame over here and click your frame over here and drag anywhere you want like this. Look at that. Okay, let's say that I want to place it over here, okay, beside my offered courses frame over here like that. Look at that, I have kept it over here and it's gonna give me automatic calculations over here. I don't have to worry about that. Now let's look at this feature over here, the width and the height. Okay, you can guess it by the name. This is used to set the width and height of your frame, or perhaps your rectangles as well, or any shapes you want. Okay, so I'm gonna select this. So I'm gonna select this like this, and look at these features over here. Okay, I'm gonna select this and I can individually set the numbers. Let's say that I want 800 pixels. Okay, I'm gonna write 800 pixels over here. There we go. It is 800 pixels over here. You can also do mathematical calculations over here as well. Let's say that I want to add another 50 pixels. Okay, I'm gonna write 50 over here. Now I'm gonna hit enter. Look at that, 850 pixels. You can also do minus, multiplications, etc. according to your needs. Okay, I'm gonna let's say I want to minus 9 pixels from here. It is 859 pixels. So minus 9. Enter. There we go. 850 by 850, which is a square. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm gonna set it to, let's say, 350 over here like this. Look at that. Okay, so do you know what mode this is? This is the portrait mode over here. And let's convert it to landscape mode. Okay, I'm gonna click this over here like this, and do you see these two little buttons over here? This is the portrait mode and this is the landscape mode. Look at this, and look at my, first of all, look at my width and height. Okay, the width is 350, height is 650. It's gonna get shifted between these two. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna select this over here. Now look, so after selecting this button over here, now look very carefully, the value of these two jumped. It was 650 before and now it's 350. Okay, it was 350, now it's 650. Now look very carefully, I'm gonna convert it back to portrait. Okay, like this. Look at that, look at that, these two values are jumping. At the same time, our frame is changing over here. Look at this. There we go, like that. If you want to change the angle of your frame, you can just drag over here like this. Look at this, I can change the angle of my frame. Look at this, it is rotating. Okay, let me actually zoom in a little bit. Now look at this, it will rotate like this. Okay, we have negative values, we have positive values, etc. You can just manually do it as well like this. I'm gonna set it to 0 like this. There we go, boom. Now look at this over here, this is the corner radius. Okay, look here very carefully. I'm gonna zoom in. Do you see this? This is pointy corners. Okay, so if I select this and if I drag like this on the right side, now look, we can set curves on our shapes and frames. Okay, so look at this, look very carefully, look at this, you see this? Okay, now let me talk about this one. Okay, the clip content, what this is. Okay, in order to make you understand this clip content, first of all, I'm gonna set some text over here. Okay, T, or you can just select this option over here, but don't worry, I'm gonna explain in details about this tool and all of its properties. Okay, it is coming, wait a minute. Okay, I'm gonna click over here and then click over here like this. Look, and I'm gonna select some text. Oh, it's very big. Okay, so I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select over here. Okay, 180 pixels, I'm gonna set it to 60 over here like this. Look at that, ADF. Okay, oh sorry, SADF. Okay, just some random text. Okay, I just place some random text over here like this. Look at that, ABC, ABC, makes more sense. Okay, so now look what happens. Okay, I'm gonna remove that clip content from here. Okay, look, nothing is set over here. Okay, now look what happens if I resize it like this. Look at this. Okay, the text is outside, the text is outside and the frame is getting resized like this. Look at that. Okay, you can clearly see the content even if we resize our frame. You can see that, you can clearly see the content even if we resize our frame, even if the frame is smaller than the content. But look very carefully what happens if I enable the clip content over here like this. Look at that, it gets clipped like a scissor. Okay, now if I resize it, now you can visibly see all the parts of our content over here. Okay, like that. Look at that. Now let me explain this feature over here. Do you see this feature? Resize to fit. Now look what happens if I click this. Okay, there we go. It resizes, it removes all the gaps and adjusts to our content. There's one over here. This is very useful when we are making buttons. Let me give you an example. Okay, Control Z. Let's say that I'm gonna make a button. Okay, BUTTON like this, and I'm gonna make it a smaller, let's say 30 pixels. Okay, and now look, And look, instead of doing this one like this manually like this, we have to do a lot of work over here and then center it over here like this, and then it is called a button over here like that. Instead of doing this hard work, what you can do is Control Z, 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 Z. It means I'm going back, okay, by doing Control Z like this. Look at that. So what you can do is simply you just click on your frame and then you click this over here, resize to fit. There we go. Boom. We made ourselves a button. This is just a sample on how to create a button, but after a couple of minutes I'm going to discuss in details how to make a button using the auto layout. I mean this one over here with appropriate calculations. So wait a couple of minutes. So once that's done, I can adjust the corners over here like this. Look at that. There we go. Like that. I can adjust the corners and then I can rotate it over here like this. Look at that. Okay, Control Z. And regarding the corner radius, look at this. I have this corner over here. I have set it to 8 pixels, which means that it's gonna set 8 pixels over here, 8 pixels here, here, here. Let's say that I don't want the corner radius to be on the right side. I just want it to be on the left side, just one single side. So what can we do in this scenario? I'm gonna select this over here and I'm gonna click this little icon over here, okay? And then look at this. This is called independent corners. It is set to 8 pixels for all the 4 corners, okay? So let's say that I don't want the corner radius on the right side. I just want it on the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like this, okay? This is the top. This is the top left. Okay, this is the top right. I'm going to select this and I'm going to set it to 0 like this. Look at that. Now look, the corner effect is removed, okay? I'm going to select this again and I'm going to select top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. This one, okay? I'm going to select this 0. Oh, sorry, my bad. I chose the wrong corner over here. But you learn from mistakes, right? So I'm going to select this again and I'm going to set it to 8 pixels over here and 0 over here like this and then enter. Look at that. I have corner radius over here on the left side, not on the right side. There we go. Now let's discuss about this feature, okay? The slice feature. So what this is used is, let me actually come to my, let me actually delete this, okay? I'm going to come on to this frame over here, okay? Let's say that I just want not the whole image, I just want the head, okay? I just want to download the head. I just want to work with the head, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this over here, slice, okay? And then I'm gonna draw a rectangle over here on the head section. Can you see this properly? Okay, there we go. Now look, I have a little slice over here. You can see this, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this slice over here either from here or I can directly select it here, okay? And then I can adjust the width and height as well like this. Look at that. All right, and I can also move it like this. Look at that. There we go. And then I'm gonna click it over here and then can you see this export button over here? I'm gonna click this export, which means I'm downloading this, okay? So I'm gonna click this plus sign over here and you can set the image quality as well. You can set it to PNG, JPG, SVG. I'm gonna do it in SVG, okay? I'm gonna select this and then I'm gonna export this one. Look at this. I have downloaded a little file over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag it over here like this. Look at this. Look at this over here. I just downloaded. I just sliced the head because I just only need to work with the head, okay? Now look at this. This is equal to this one over here, this slice over here. I hope you understood the slice property. Now regarding this export button, you can download anything you want, okay? Let me actually give you a demo, okay? I'm going to delete this from here and at the same time I'm going to remove this slice from here as well. And let's say that I want to download this single frame over here, okay? Just single frame or perhaps even just the drawing over here. The illustration. I just want to download the illustration and nothing else. Or you can also download multiple files as well by clicking this one and then shift, then click like this, then click like this as well. Now let's say for keeping this simple, I'm gonna download this image, okay? I'm gonna click this over here and then I'm gonna scroll down at the bottom over here and then look at this. I have the export button. I'm gonna click over here and then look at this. You can change the size as well. You can download it 2 times, 3 times or 4 times the actual size, okay? And then we have the PNG, SVG, JPG, PDF, etc. formats, okay? You can download it anywhere you want. You can download it in any format you want and then you're gonna hit this export frame button. And yeah, this feature, this preview option is given just to let you know that what you are downloading, okay? You can see this, I have just selected this frame, this illustration over here. Let's say that I want to select this text over here. Okay, I'm going to select this text and I'm going to select this export like this, and look at that, it is giving me this preview that I am just downloading the text over here. Now let's discuss about the shape feature. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. You see this shape, it looks like a square. Okay, I'm going to select this like this. Look at this, I have a lot of options. I have rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, etc. Let's say that I want a polygon, sorry, I want an ellipse. Okay, I'm going to click this, or I can select O. So I'm going to select O like this, and look at this, I can make a circle over here. But look, this circle looks distorted and it's going to be very hard for me to make a perfect circle. So in this cases, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit shift. Now look, it instantly became a perfect circle, and now while holding shift I can just move my mouse and look, it's gonna give me a perfect circle like this. Look at that. Okay, this is a perfect circle over here. I'm gonna delete this, and I have more options like a rectangle. Okay, and I'm gonna select a rectangle like this. Look at that. Okay, I can do it anywhere I want. I can move it anywhere I want, and I can select the width and height accordingly. Okay, look at this, I'm moving this and I'm resizing this like this. And do you see this little dot over here? This dot over here, it is used to set the radius. Look at this, corner radius. You can do it over here, or you can do it over here directly like this, or what you can do is you can select this options over here. Okay, like this, as I told you a little bit earlier. Okay, you can do it like this as well. And yeah, do you remember this scale button? Do you remember this scale tool over here? This one, as I told you that I'm going to discuss in details after discussing this frame and this rectangle. Now I'm going to discuss this. Okay, so where this scale button is used? Let's say that you want to scale, you want something, let's say that you want to make something bigger. Okay, so in the case of this circle, do you remember this circle, this distorted circle? Okay, look at this, you cannot make it a perfect circle. Let's say that I have selected a shift. Okay, shift. Now look, it looks like a perfect circle. Okay, I have released that shift. Now let's say that you want to make it a little bigger. Okay, what you normally do is you're gonna select this like this. Look at this. Okay, when you try to make it bigger, it's gonna get distorted again. So in this cases, what you can do is you can just simply select the shift and it's gonna resize accordingly. Or what you can do is you can select this scale function over here. You can select this over here directly, or you can just select the K option on your keyboard. Okay, K, and look at this, I have a different icon on my mouse. Okay, I'm gonna select V, which means move. Okay, look at this icon on my mouse. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Look at this, this is V, this is for the move, this is the default, and if I want to resize, this is K. Look at this, scale, and this is move. Okay, I'm gonna give K over here like this. Now I'm gonna resize. Look, it's gonna resize proportionately in proportional measurements. Okay, now look at this. Okay, 788 by 788. Okay, I'm gonna resize it again. Now look at that, it's gonna give me accurate proportion measurements. So I'm gonna remove this circle from here and I'm gonna draw a perfect square. Okay, shift and then I'm gonna hit R, which means rectangle, or you can just select it from here as well and shift and then drag like this. Look at this, this is a perfect square. Okay, now let's talk about this feature, this fill feature. Okay, this is used to color your rectangle, color your shapes like this. Look at that, you can color it anything you wish. You can also input the hex value. You can also change the opacity over here. You can also use these predefined colors. Let's say that I want to use sky blue over here. Look at that. And you can also use this dropper tool. Okay, if you select this dropper tool, then you can select anything you wish. Let's say that I want my box, my square to be the color of this. Okay, so I have this eyedropper on my hand. I'm going to select this over here like this. Now look at my square over here. Look, this is the same color as this one over here. Now let's look at more features that we have on our right panel over here. Okay, this features. Okay, I'm gonna select it over here and I'm gonna change it to the default color. Okay, wait a minute, E4, E4, E4 like this. Oh, sorry, there we go, it is C4, C4, C4. All right, so the first thing that I want to discuss is the stroke. So what this does is it gives a stroke around our box. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna select this like this. Look at that, it's gonna generate me a little stroke over here. Okay, can you see this black colored outline over here? I'm gonna increase its width. Okay, like this. Look, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the stroke is 10 pixels. Okay, can you see this black color thick stroke over here? You can also change the various properties like the color, the size. Then should it be inside the box, or should it be on the center, or should it be outside the box, like that? Look at that. You can also hide the shadow. I mean, you can also hide the stroke like this. If you select this I button over here like that, look at that. You can also click it over here again, and it's gonna show me the stroke over here. And if you want to remove this stroke permanently, you can also use this minus button over here like this. Look at that, it went away. Okay, now we're gonna look at this effects feature. Okay, for that I'm gonna just resize this little bit like that. Okay, now if I select this effect button, look at this, I have this panel over here. Okay, I have a lot of options, like if I want to make a drop shadow, or if I want some layer blur, or perhaps background blur. We have inner shadow as well. For now I'm going to show you the drop shadow. Okay, I'm going to select this over here, and yes, you can experiment on your own. And look at this, I have a little bit of shadow. Do you see this shadow at the back of this rectangle? Let me actually remove that shadow. Okay, look at this. Do you see the shadow over there? Okay, I am hiding the shadow. Now let me bring that shadow back. Look at this. So this drop shadow is used to make shadows to our shapes, frames, buttons, cards, etc. Alright, so now look at this over here. This is called the effect setting. Okay, so I'm gonna click over here, and then I can adjust the shadow. Okay, so this is the X, which means that my shadow will move left and right like this. Look at that. Okay, look at this. Look, my shadow is moving left and right. If I want to move the shadow top to the bottom like this, I'm gonna use this Y button over here. Okay, like that. Look at that. And then if I want the shadow to spread, I'm going to use this spread over here like that. Look, the shadow is getting bigger, okay, and smaller as well. And you can also change the color over here, opacity over here as well. And if you want to change the blur, you can do it like this. There we go, we're increasing the blur. So we're going to utilize this drop shadow when we are making buttons. Okay, let me actually give you a demo. Look at this, our buttons have a little bit of drop shadow over here, as well as these cards. Look at these cards. Okay, this has drop shadow. So when we're making this layout, I mean when we're doing this design, we're gonna utilize this drop shadow. Whatever I have discussed so far, this is the design section, okay, on the right panel. So this is the prototype over here. After a couple of minutes, I'm going to discuss about this prototype, okay, so don't worry. And look at this inspect over here. Okay, so if I go to the inspect, then it's going to generate me CSS code. Let's say that I want the code of this one, okay, this section over here. Then I'm going to select this over here, and look at this. It is generating me CSS over here like this. Look at that. If you're a developer, you can save time. Look at this, display flex, flex direction column, justify content center, align items flex start, so on and so forth. Along with all of this, look, pixel measurements over here, along with the padding, width, height, etc. So this inspect tool is very handy. Alright, now I'm going to discuss in details about all of these tools over here. These are the alignment tools, okay? So in order to discuss about that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a frame, okay? F, and then I'm going to drag it like this. Look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to write some text, okay? T, and then click over here, and then some text over here, okay? Like that, okay? Let me actually write A, B, C, D, okay? A, B, C, D like that. Control A, capital letter A, B, C, D. There we go. Now let's say that I want this text to be at the very center. So what will we do? Okay, so if you come over here, look at this, align horizontal center. If I click over here like this, now look, our text is at the very center horizontally. Okay, if I want it to be at the very center vertically, I mean if I want it to be at the very center over here, so what am I gonna click? I'm gonna click over here. Look at this. This is the align vertical centers like this. Look at that. It is at the very center, both horizontally and vertically. Let's say that I want to move it to the very left, at the very left. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this over here like this. Look at that. This is alignment left. If you want alignment right, you can also do it like this. This option over here like this. Look at that. So you can experiment with all of these values over here. And regarding this, I'm going to delete this over here like this real quick. And regarding this panel over here, I mean this tool over here, and regarding this text, this is the file name. Okay, if you double click over here, then you can rename it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it Figma file over here, I mean Figma tutorial over here like that as it is. And if you click over here like this, you can download this Figma file. You can also duplicate it, you can rename it, and you can also delete this as well. So these are the options that you have. You can also share it with your friends that what you created so far. like you created these frames over here. If you want to share it with your friends, or perhaps if you want to share it with your clients, then you can click this share option over here, and then you're gonna find appropriate details. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this now right now. And okay, now regarding this button over here, this is called a present button. So if you click on here, then you can see your designs live. At the same time, if you're working with prototype, then you can also view your, you can also test the interactivity of your prototypes live. Don't worry, I'm going to discuss this prototype after a couple of minutes. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to click on here. Okay, after selecting this design over here, okay, I'm going to click this. I can view this over here. Now look at this. This is the desktop typography. Okay, and if I come over here, if I click this arrow over here, then it is going to go next like this. Wait a minute. These are the sections. Look at this. This is my design over here. Okay, I can view it over here. Now look, this is very large. Okay, I want to make it small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to these options, and then I'm going to select this fit, scale down to fit. Okay, like this. There we go. Now it looks much better. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go next. Or perhaps you can also use an arrow right like this. Look at that. It's going to move to the next frame like this. So by this way, you can preview your designs, what you created so far. Okay, you can view it like this. Look at that. There we go. Now we're going to discuss about the text tool in details. So this tool over here, the text tool, is used to add text to our web designs. So if you notice carefully, then every design, the desktop, tablet, laptop, mobile, contains this chart over here. Okay, this is the typography guide. Chart shows that what should be the font size of the logo, the font size of the nav items, font size of the large text, font size of the small text, the text of the button, etc., along with the line height over here. So you can see that the line height of large should be 90 and the line height of small should be 43 over here. Same goes for the mobile design as well. Look at this over here. I have included the mobile typography over here. So the logo is 48 pixels, then large text 32, button is 24 pixels, so on and so forth. This chart is also mentioned for the laptop as well. So look at this over here. So this is the laptop design over here, and this one is the typography for the laptop design. Okay, so logo is 60 pixels, the button should be 30 pixels, so on and so forth. So I'm going to come over here, and over here I'm going to create either a rectangle or a frame. So you can hit R like this, and it's going to create me a rectangle. But I'm going to use a frame over here. Okay, Control Z. So if you hit F like this, it's going to create a frame like this. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to make the frame a little smaller. Let's say 1000 by 500. Okay, that will do for this tutorial like this. Look at that. Alright then, in order to use the text tool, you directly click over here like this, and it's going to highlight blue over here, and you're going to get a plus sign on your mouse. Can you see my mouse over here? It is in plus sign. Okay, and if you want to do it in a shortcut way, you just hit T on your keyboard like this, T, and it's gonna highlight that text over here on your mouse. And if you click anywhere, then you can get this sign over here. You see this? Then you can add text like this. Look at that. It is set to 110 pixels, but by default your text should be 12 pixels like this, which means that wait a minute, it should be on 12 pixels like this, which means that it's going to be very small. So what you're going to do, you're going to click over here. Okay, and you see this option over here. This is used to set the font size. So what is the font size of our desktop? Let's see. It is for the logo, it's 90 pixels. Okay, so let's set it to 90 pixels like this. Look, it is set to 12. I'm going to set 90 over here like this. Okay, then enter, and then it's going to output me this result. Okay, so this is used to set the font size. And this one, you see this is used to set the font family. It is currently set to Roboto. And if I click over here, and I can change the font family as well like this, it should be let's say we're gonna set it to Poppins like this, Poppins, Poppins. Okay, now look, the font family changes. Similarly, I can also write sans serif over here. Sans let's go for sensation. Okay, I'm gonna hit enter like this. Look at that, it changed. And if you click this drop down icon over here like this, then you have tons of options for fonts. You can pick any font family you want like this. Look at that. So I'm going to set it to Poppins like this, Poppins like that, and I'm going to name over here Edu io like this, okay, because we're gonna deal with this logo after all. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to show you is this one. Okay, this is the font weight. It is currently set to regular. You can also set extra light over here like this. Look at that, the font weight changes. Okay, you can also set it to thin like this. Look at that, it became thin. You can also set it to, let's say, extra bold. Look at that, how bold this text is. Okay, I hope you understood it so far. And you see this over here, so this is used to set the line height. Look at that, it is written, highlighted over there, line height. Okay, so I'm gonna set it to, let's say, regular. Okay, like this. So this logo should be regular. And in order to test this line height, you cannot just simply test with just a single line. You need multiple lines. Okay, so I'm gonna delete it over here like this, and I'm gonna drag this text. You see this text over here, I'm gonna drag it to our test case. So in order to drag it, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit control, okay, and then just pick this text over here like this, and then I'm gonna zoom out and I'm gonna click the alt. I'm gonna select the alt text like this, alt, and you see my mouse is getting a little shadow on its back, like two mouses together. Okay, so I'm gonna select the alt text and I'm gonna move my mouse like this. Look at that, it is getting copied. Okay, I'm gonna come over here and don't move. Okay, just first of all, just release your mouse click like this. Okay, and then you're gonna release the alt key like this. Look, now we have successfully copied our text on here. Okay, now look at this. Now we're gonna come over here and we're gonna select this like this, and then we're gonna see this. Okay, look at here, the line height is set to 43, and if you want to change it, then you're gonna click over here, or you can directly put the number over here like this. Let's say I want to set it to 110 pixels like this. Okay, if I click enter, now look, it has 110 pixels of gap over here. Let's say that I want to set it to 20. Okay, you can directly input it over here like this, 20. Look at that, it became very congested like this. Okay, so if you click over here, you see this, I got a small icon, okay, arrow sign icon like this. I'm gonna move my mouse like this. Now look, I can practice with this real time like this without worrying about, without directly inputting the value over there. Okay, look at that, I'm just playing around with my mouse so that I can find that sweet spot which would be the ideal line height. Okay, so I'm going to change it to 43 like that, because it is actually given on the style guide over here. Wait a minute, over here, look at that, the small text, it should be 30 pixels, and look at this, the line height should be 43 pixels. Okay, I'm going to come over here like this, and look at this, the font size is 30 over here, and it is set to Poppins, and the line height is 43 over here. Now do you see this over here? This is called the letter spacing. So line height works like this, okay, but the letter spacing works like this. It's gonna put gap between our letter like this. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm gonna keep it over here like this, and watch very carefully. Oh, by the way, you can also input direct value over here like this, 30 over here like this, then it's gonna be 30%, or perhaps you can also set this, you can also use this mouse over here, and you're gonna get this little arrow sign. Okay, so I'm gonna drag like this. Look at that, it's gonna change according to my mouse movement. Okay, look at that, like this, it's working like that. So this is used to set the letter spacing. I hope you understood it so far. I'm gonna set it to 0 over here like this. Now look at this one. This is called the paragraph spacing. Okay, in case if you have multiple paragraphs, then this is gonna work. Okay, so if I drag like this over here, then you can see this behavior, it is working like a line height, but it should not work like a line height, because I have actually used some gap over here like this. Let me actually show you. Wait a minute, I'm gonna set it to default, Control Z again like that. Okay, so what is happening is I have given some line break over here, that's why it is behaving like a paragraph. But if I set it to its original state like this, wait a minute, just give me a second. Okay, this is actually the original state. Look at this long text over here. Okay, now I'm gonna shrink it like this. Look at this. Okay, I'm gonna shrink it like this, and it's gonna behave like this. Okay, let me actually zoom in. There we go. I hope you can see this. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, I'm gonna look at this. This is behaving just like a single paragraph. Okay, now look what happens if I use it. Okay, now look, it is not working. the paragraph spacing is not working. This will only work when you have multiple paras. Okay, let me actually show you. Okay, I'm gonna copy this one over here like this. Let's say 2 lines. Okay, Control C, and then I'm gonna paste it over here like this. Control V. There we go. So how many paras do we have? We have 2 paras. Now look at this paragraph height. Paragraph spacing. Okay, it is set to 23 pixels. I'm gonna drag my mouse like this. Look at that. I can change that paragraph spacing, but look, it is set to 0, but there is some gap over here. That is the gap of your line height. Look at that. Okay, you can also write over here, but if you remove that white space from here, then look, it's gonna work like that. Now look, it is set to 0, exact 0. Okay, I'm gonna drag it over here like this. Now look, it is working perfectly fine. There we go. Let's look at the next feature. Okay, I'm gonna click over here and look at this. Do you see this? This is the text align left, text align center, text align right. Okay, let's experiment. Okay, so I'm gonna drag it. I'm gonna drag the window like this. Okay, over here like this. Look at that. Now look, the text is behaving on the left side. Okay, text align left. Now I'm gonna change it to center. Okay, you see this third line over here? Look at that. It is set to left. Now it's gonna move to the middle like this. Okay, if I click over here like this, text align center. Now look, it is changing the alignment. The text alignment is changing to center like this. And I have also the option of right over here. Look at that. Right, text align right. So if you want the option of justify, you're gonna click this little icon over here. Okay, wait a minute. You're gonna click this little icon over here, and then you're gonna find this justify over here, which means that it's gonna appropriately, equally distribute the spaces in a way that it fills the whole box over here. Okay, so let me actually make this para into a line like this. Now look at that. You see this one, this line over here and this line over here. Look, the text are equally distributed inside the box so that it looks like text align justify. All right, so I hope you understood this alignment tools over here. Now look at this tool over here. Okay, auto width, auto height, and then fixed size. So in order to discuss these tools over here, first of all, what you're gonna do is you're gonna reduce the size of your font size. Okay, so I'm gonna set it to, let's say 20 pixels like this. Okay, now let's say I want to drag it like this. Okay, I'm gonna drag that box like that. Now look, this is behaving like a fixed height, which means that our para over here will occupy what is this, 912 pixels of width into 286 pixels of height. So it's gonna occupy that much amount of space on our web design, or perhaps on our frame. Okay, so I can drag it like this. Now look, it's gonna, those snapping guides. Okay, you see this orange colored guide over here? It's gonna work accordingly to our box. The box which carries the text. Okay, so this is how the fixed height, fixed size works. But if you snap it to auto width, which means that it's gonna hug the content inside the box so that there is no additional spaces. Look at this. You see this box over here along with the blue colored guides. Okay, so I'm gonna click over here, which is auto width. Now look at that. It's gonna work as if it is a single line first of all. And the next thing is, it's not gonna keep any additional gaps. Okay, so let's say that I want to break the line. Okay, I want to break the line over here like this. So you can also do it. You can also break the line like that. There we go. It's gonna work like that. And if I, let's say for any instance, this changes to like this. Okay, it's gonna, let's say that it changed to this. So what you're gonna do is, if you want to reduce those white spaces, normally most of the people, what they do is they're gonna do it like this. Look, they're gonna do it like this. But this will not give you exact measurements. It's not the ideal scenario. So what you're gonna use is, you're gonna use this little icon over here, which is auto width. Okay, the auto height, wait a minute, this auto height works in a similar manner. Okay, it just works with the height. Okay, I'm gonna click over here, and if I select this, then it's gonna automatically snap those height and remove those white space from my text like that. Okay, now let's look at these tools over here, these 3 tools over here. Okay, this is align top, align at the middle, and align at the bottom. Okay, let's say that I have this text and I'm gonna resize it like this. Okay, now look, I have a lot of space inside my rectangle, and where is my text? Where is my text aligned? It is aligned at the top, very top. If I want to take it on the middle like this, Okay, I can use this one over here like this. Look at that. It's gonna come to the middle inside this box. And let's say that I want to take my text at the very center. Okay, what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use this little icon over here, align bottom, like that. Like that. Look at that. It has aligned to the bottom. So let's change it back like this at the top, and then auto width like this. There we go. Now let's look at these tools over here. Okay, you see these three dots over here. If you select this like this, then you're gonna have more tools. Okay, first of all, you're gonna get this alignment tools over here, and then the decorations. Okay, so if you hover over here, then you're gonna get live preview what each and every tool does, like this. Look at this underline tool. It's gonna underline my text. Okay, if I select this like this, you're gonna not only see the result over here live. Look at that. Look at this little screen. Okay, you can also see the result over here. Okay, like that. So I'm gonna click it over here as well. So if I want to remove the decoration, then I'm gonna select this over here like this, none. Then you can also strike through the text like this. You have a lot of options. If you want to make lists, look at this list option over here. Okay, if I click this, then it's gonna create me a list. Okay, unordered list. And if you want to make it to ordered list, then you can click this over here, an ordered list in 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So if you want paragraph indentation, you can utilize this feature. Okay, wait a minute, this paragraph indentation feature. Okay, so if you say to, let's say 30 pixels like this. Okay, oh, this is actually not working. That's because we have multiple line breaks. So I'm gonna make it just a single line like this. Wait a minute, just give me a second, and then I'm gonna drag this inside my frame. Okay, wait a second, like that. There we go, and it is just working like a single paragraph. And then auto height like this, I mean auto width like this. Okay, oh, I did it in the wrong way, my bad, sorry. Okay, now looks good. Now look, I have some paragraph indentation at the very first of the text. Okay, look at this. We have 30 pixels of gap over here. If you want to increase the gap, let's say 100. Let's go for 100. Okay, 100 like this. There we go. We have 100 pixels of gap over here. Let's look at more options that we have. Okay, so we have the letter case over here. Okay, this is the default. I mean, the way you write, it's gonna be default. Okay, so if you want all the text to be capital sized, okay, you have this uppercase. Okay, now look at this text. Okay, lorem ipsum dolor sit. Okay, it is in small text, lowercase letter. Okay, I'm gonna change it to uppercase letter. Okay, I'm gonna click over here, and then I'm gonna click this. Okay, it is also preview, it's gonna give me preview over here as well. Okay, so I'm gonna click this over here. Now look, all the text, all the letter has changed to uppercase letters. Okay, like this. Look at that. You can also change it to lowercase letters by clicking this. Okay, look at that. All the text are, I mean, all the letters are lowercase. By the way, if you want to change the color of your text, what you have to do is you're gonna select any text. Okay, let's say that I want to select this text over here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna control and then click over here like this. Okay, or what you can do is you can double click over here like this, and it's gonna get selected. Okay, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna scroll down over here, and you see this fill option over here. You can change the color over here by inputting your hex value over here, or what you can do is you can just select this option over here. Okay, you can get this eyedropper over here, which means that you can pick any color you want like this. Look, I'm gonna select this over here like this, and let's say that I want to change it to this color over here. Okay, so I'm gonna select this, and look, the text gets colored according to this color over here. Similarly, what you can do is you can drag this little small dot over here, and you can place anywhere you want, and the color changes accordingly. Okay, I'm gonna move this ball over here, and you're gonna see the changes over here. Okay, look at this. I'm gonna change it to black. Let's say I'm gonna change it to black, let's say like this. Okay, and let's say I want to change it to white. Okay, I'm gonna go over here like this. By the way, you can also move this over here to change the color. Okay, let's say I want to go to red. Okay, I'm gonna come to red over here, and this palette over here turns to red. Okay, I can move it over here as well like this. Look at that. If you want to change the opacity, then you can change it over here like this. Look, I'm gonna drag this slider over here, and look at this effect over here. Okay, it's gonna get changed. Okay, look at this. I'm gonna drag it, and look, the opacity changes. Okay, if I turn it to 0, it's gonna be invisible. Okay, if we go to absolute 0 like this, then it's gonna get invisible. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're done discussing the text tool along with all its properties. As a beginner, you don't have to understand prototypes. So this is the feature that I'm discussing right now, the prototype over here, this one. Okay, But for the sake of this tutorial and to make you understand how and where the prototype feature is used, I have created a small section over here on this pages, okay? So you can see this prototype sample. You're gonna come over here, okay? Now you can see two designs over here, okay? This is the mobile design. Now let me tell you where prototype is used. Prototype is used to make interactive web designs. So I have kept an example over here on this section, okay? Prototype sample. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click over here, okay? Prototype, like this. Now look, I already created some frames over here, but I'm gonna delete it, okay? So I'm gonna click it over here like this, and I'm gonna delete, and then I'm gonna click over here and then delete. Okay, so I'm starting from scratch in order to make you I'm starting from scratch in order to make you understand how the system works. I mean the prototype, how prototype works. So first of all, let's understand this model over here, okay? So this is our nav bar over here, and this is the hamburger menu icon over here, okay? So the moment we click this menu icon over here, okay, it's gonna get converted to this cross sign over here, and then this content over here will get vanished, and then it's gonna show us our menu items over here like home, teacher, so on and so forth, etc. In order to create a prototype, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here, okay, this section, prototype, like that, and you're gonna get this instructions over here, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna select this, okay, by double clicking over here. Like that, look at that. I have selected this hamburger menu icon. Okay, so look at this. Do you see this plus sign over here? It means that the moment we click on here or the moment we tap on here, where will this lead us to? Okay, it's gonna lead us to this frame over here. I mean this design over here. Okay, so I'm gonna click and drag this one like this. Look at this arrow on my hand. Okay, I'm gonna drag it like this over here. There we go. So this is getting linked to this one over here, alright? And then it's gonna give me this option over here. So look at this interaction details that popped up, okay? So it's telling me, it's asking me how this interaction should take place, okay? Should it be on click or on drag or while hovering, while pressing? Then we have mouse and we have a lot of options over here to pick from. But for this tutorial, I'm gonna keep it very simple, okay? On click, which means that the moment we click this one over here, then it's gonna show us this frame over here, okay? And then we also need to click over here so that we can go back to this main content over here. So how do we do this? We're gonna do the same thing, okay? We're gonna double click over here on this cross sign, and then you see this little plus over here. Let me zoom in. You see this little plus over here. We're gonna select that and drag it back to this main frame over here like this. Look at that. There we go. And then it's also gonna show me this interaction designs, I mean interaction details. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep it as it is. And then look at this animation over here. So I'm gonna click over here. So instead of instant, I'm gonna select dissolve over here like that. So you have a bunch of, a lot of options to choose from, but I'm gonna keep it very simple, just dissolve, okay, like that. And I'm gonna select this one as well, and I'm gonna set the animation to dissolve as well, like that. Look at that. Now look, in order to test this prototype, what you have to do is you're gonna click this play button over here. Do you see this play button over here? I'm gonna click it like this. Now let's experiment. It's gonna create me a new window over here, okay, and there we go. Look at this, our design is over here. This is our prototype over here, okay. Now look at this. Look at my mouse over here. Wherever I go, it is just a mouse, okay? But whenever I come over here, look at this, it's gonna turn into a pointer, which means that this is clickable. If I click over here, then it's gonna give me some animations or interactions, okay? Now look, I'm gonna test it over here like this, okay? I'm gonna click like this. Look at that. Look at that. We have our navigation menu items over here, and we also have this cross sign over here, okay? I'm gonna click over here again like that. Look at that. It went back to our frame, main frame over here. Let's experiment again, okay? Click like this. There we go. And then in order to go back, look at that. Do you see this animation, this dissolve animation? Look at that. It is just fading in, fading out. I really hope that you understood the prototype feature. If you want to experiment with the prototype, you're going to come to this section over here, the prototype sample, and follow the instructions that I have given you. Now we are going to discuss about the feature called auto layout. Today I'm going to show you two use cases how to use the auto layout. First of all, I'm going to show you how to align your content, this content over here, this text, this button. At the same time, I'm going to show you how to make this button over here using the auto layout. So now you're going to come over here like this, and we're going to create a new frame over here, okay? So you hit F like this on your keyboard, okay, and then you're gonna drag it like this. Look at that, we have created ourselves a new frame. Okay, let me actually resize it a little bit like this. Look at that. Okay, it looks quite good. And then now I'm gonna create a text. Okay, so T, and then I'm gonna place it over here like this. Okay, I'm gonna write something like this, and then I'm gonna set the size to, let's say, 60 pixels. Okay, wait a minute, it's gonna work right now. 60, there we go. And now I'm gonna duplicate this. Okay, let's say that I want to duplicate it 3 times. Okay, I'm gonna select the keyboard named Alt. Okay, and then I'm gonna drag it like this. Look at that. Okay, it's gonna get copied. Okay, Alt, and then use your mouse like this. Look at that, Alt and then mouse. It's gonna duplicate me the same thing. Okay, Control Z. Now where is the auto layout used? Let's say that this text are over here like this. Look at that. Okay, in this array, let's say that I want to align them to the very left on exact measurements. How? Why? I mean, look at this over here. You see this text 1, 2, and then this button over here. You see all of these elements are aligned to this box, this blue colored box over here on the very left on exact accurate measurements. So if we want to copy this layout over here like this, then what we generally have to do is we have to individually select this element. Okay, and then we have to take the help of this guides over here. Do you see this orange colored guide that is showing me the number of gaps, 57 pixels? Okay, if I come over here like this, look at this, the orange colored guide is getting highlighted. Okay, let me show you again. Okay, look at this. Okay, now look, this is on accurate left, aligned left. Okay, and then if I drag it over here like this, now look, it's gonna get aligned to the left according to this size over here. Okay, and then let's say that I want to decrease the size over here. Okay, I'm gonna select it like this. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this, and it got decreased, reduced in size. And let's say that I want to decrease it even further. Okay, I'm gonna remove these letters from here like this. Look at that. Okay, now let's say that I want to change the gap in between this content. Okay, it's gonna be a hassle. Okay, you have to just individually take your mouse, and then you have to place it like this. And if you want to calculate the space, what you have to do is you're gonna click any element. Let's say that I want to click this element. Okay, this element, and then I'm gonna select my Alt key on my keyboard like this, and then wherever I place my mouse, it's gonna show me that calculation. Like, look at this, the distance between these 2 elements, okay, is 51 pixels. Look at this orange colored guide, it is highlighting 51 pixels. Similarly, let's say that I want to select this and calculate the gap between these 2 content. Okay, I'm gonna select Alt, and then I'm gonna put my mouse on this content. Look at this, 39 pixels. This is how it works, but it's gonna be a long hassle if you do it manually. So in these cases, what you can use is the auto layout. Okay, let me actually show you. Okay, so I'm gonna click all of them together, and then I'm gonna right click like this, and look at this option, add auto layout. Okay, I can do it over here like this, or do you see this option, shortcut key Shift A? You can also press the Shift A and it's gonna work. Okay, like this. Look at that. Okay, now look, so if you notice on the right side, you see this new section over here. This is called the auto layout. Okay, if you want to remove the auto layout, then you're gonna select this minus over here. Okay, and then it's gonna remove it and convert it back to a frame. How do you know when it gets converted to a frame? Okay, you're gonna see on the right side. Okay, look at this. Okay, this hashtag means the frame. Now if you go back by selecting Ctrl Z like this, look at this over here. Wait a minute, look at this. We have 2 rows like this, I mean 2 lines like this. This represents the auto layout. Okay, now let's look at the options that we have. Okay, so I'm gonna select this like this, and it's gonna highlight me that auto layout. Okay, look at this, I have 45 pixels of gap in between each of this content. Okay, so if I drag my mouse like this, look at that, the amount of gap in between this content changes. Okay, like this, look at that. Okay, lowest is 0 and upper limit is anything you wish. Okay, like this. Let's say I want to set it to 25 pixels like this. Look at that. And this one, look at this one, this is used to add padding around your content. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna select this and drag it like this. Look at that, look at this, padding is getting added all around my content like this. Look at that. If you want to change it again like this, look, padding is getting applied like that. Now let's talk about this feature over here, padding and alignment. Okay, so if I let's say that I want to increase my size of my content. Okay, like this, look at this, I'm gonna drag my blue colored box like this, and it's gonna increase in size. Let's say that I want to place my content at the very center. How do I do this? In order to do it quickly, easily, efficiently, we're gonna use this tool, alignment and padding. Okay, I'm gonna select this like this, and look at this. I have so many options. I can select it anywhere. I can place it anywhere I want. So our criteria is we want to set it at the very center. How do we do it? We're gonna click this over here. You see this over here option? Look at that. It got centered on our box over here. Okay, so let's say that I want to select this. I want to place it on this corner over here. On this corner over here, we can do it. So you're gonna select this like this. Look at that. It's gonna get moved to this section over here. And do you see this over here? This is the padding. This is used to add padding. So remember this one. Okay, let me actually change it to the default like that. There we go. So do you remember this? It's gonna add padding to all four sides. But you don't want this behavior. You just want to add padding to, let's say that left and right. Okay, in order to do it manually, you're gonna click this over here, and you see this option over here. You're gonna manually add padding over here. Let's say that I want to add 50 pixels of padding to the left side. There we go. Boom. It's gonna add padding to just to the left side. Okay. Now let's say that I want to add padding to the top. Okay. Top how much? Let's say that 25 pixels. Okay. So I'm gonna come over here and write 25 like this and hit enter. Now look, I have 25 pixels of padding at the top, 50 pixels of padding on the left. If you want to individually set the padding, this tool is very helpful. Alright then, now let's experiment how to make a button using the auto layout. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this from here. Okay, I'm gonna make a button like this. Look at that. You see this button over here? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna duplicate it. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here, and the very first thing that I can do is I'm gonna write text over here like this. Okay, I'm gonna write after selecting T, and let me show you the steps. Okay, you're gonna hit T on your keyboard, or you're gonna select this over here. Okay, so T like this, and then click over here on your screen, on your frame. Okay, and you're gonna write button, B-U-T-T-O-N, like this button. Okay, so I'm gonna convert this button text to full capital letters. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here like this, and I'm gonna select this option over here. Okay, look at that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna directly add auto layout. Look at this. Okay, I'm gonna right click over here and then add auto layout. Or what you can do is you can click shift plus A like this. Look, shift and A. Now look, auto layout is added to our button. Okay, so in order to see that, what we have to do is we're gonna click this over here, and then you see this fill over here. I'm gonna click this over here like this, and I'm gonna change the fill color to black. Okay, 0000 like this, and look at that, it got converted to very dark black. Okay, now I'm gonna come over here, and then I'm gonna select Control on my keyboard, and then left click over here, and then I'm gonna select the text. Okay, the text is selected. Or what you can do is you can come over here on this frame. Okay, this frame gets highlighted in blue, and then look at this frame, this auto layout frame. Okay, and inside this frame we have the button. Okay, you can click this over here, or you can directly Control and then left click over here, then it's gonna select the text. Okay, and then you see this color over here. I'm gonna change it to white. Okay, F 6 times F like this. Look, it's gonna bring me back my buttons. Okay, now let's say that I want to add some padding to the left and to the right side of my button. So how do I do this? And before doing that, what you have to normally do is we have to select this over here, and then you have to select this, which means that you want the text to be at the very center of your button. Otherwise, what happens is, if you want to resize your button, let's say that I want to resize my button. Look at that, the text is aligned to the very left, it is not moving. Okay, if I resize it like this, look, it is not moving anywhere. Okay, Control Z, Control Z. Now if I set it to the very center like this, if I resize my button anywhere, anyhow, wherever I wish like that, look at that, this text will stay at the very center over here like that. Look at that, I can move it anywhere I want. Okay, Control Z. Now let's say that I want to individually add some padding. Okay, I'm going to select over here, and then let's say I want to select padding of 30 pixels on the left and the right. Okay, 30 over here, tap, enter, 30 over here, hit enter, like that. Look at that, we have 10 pixels of padding to the top, bottom, and 30 pixels of padding on the left and right. Also, I'm going to show you how you can utilize these two buttons over here to make responsive layouts for your desktop, tablet, mobile, web designs more quickly and efficiently. So keep watching. I hope you understood how to align your content and make buttons using the auto layout feature. Now I'm going to show you this feature that is left to discuss, this feature over here, okay? So this is the vertical direction and this is the horizontal direction, okay? I'm going to remove this real quick and look at this over here. Do you see this layout over here? Do you see these cards over here? How is this stacked? This is stacked on a horizontal line. And if you see the mobile version, the mobile design, look at this. It is stacked vertically like this. So how do we do this? Very quickly, easily and efficiently, okay? So I'm going to come to this desktop version over here and then I'm going to copy this one to the right side, okay? Or perhaps let's say I want to copy this over here, okay? Like that. There we go. I'm going to extend this like this, okay? And then I'm going to click one time over here, okay? And then Alt. Press the Alt button on your keyboard, okay? Like this, and then drag it over here like this. Look at that. Okay, so auto layout is also enabled on this one, okay? If you see the right panel over here, you see this auto layout. You see this auto layout is enabled, okay? Do you see this horizontal direction? It is enabled, which means that our cards will act like this, okay? It's gonna act on the horizontal line. It's gonna layout on the horizontal line. But let's say that we want it to be on the vertical line, which means that we want to make it for the mobile version, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna click it over here like this. Look at that. Boom. We made the layout of our cards for the mobile version. Look at that. How quickly I made it. So the mobile has small screen, okay? So I have to resize it like this. Let's say that I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to hit the K. Or what you can do is you can come over here and then select this scale version over here. Okay? I'm going to hit K over here like this and then click this and then I'm going to resize it like this. Look at that. It got resized. If you want to resize even further according to your screen, which is normally small, like this, look at that. You can adjust the width and height accordingly to your needs, okay, like this, using the scale tool. Now look at this side-by-side comparison. How easily and quickly I made layout for my mobile version from the desktop version. This is the desktop version over here. And this is the mobile version over here. By the way, do you see the content inside this card, this chemistry, this button over here, this image over here? All of them are using the auto layout. And I have used auto layout to align the content at the very center. If I select one card like this, look at that. Okay, I have selected this card over here. So look at this content over here, okay? If I come to this auto layout, look, all the content has 19 pixels of padding. I mean gaps in between. And then if I select this one over here, then you can see that the content is aligned to the very center. Like this, look at that. I really hope that you understood the auto layout feature. The next feature that I want to talk about is the layout grid. So you can select any frame you want across all these pages, either the desktop, tablet, mobile or anything. So you're going to find these frames, okay? I'm going to select the first one as an example, okay? And then you're going to find this over here, the layout grid. So where is this used? If you want to plan your content, I mean if you want to make your web design responsive for the desktop, tablet, mobile, etc. You need to plan your content, right? So using this, you can plan your content. Let me show you a demo, okay? So I'm gonna, you see this I button over here, I'm gonna click this. This is used to hide that layout, okay? Like this, look at that, okay? And this minus sign is used to delete that layout. And this plus sign is used to add the layout. I mean the layout grid, okay? So look at this, what is written over here? 5 columns auto, okay? So if you count over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 grid columns, okay? So if you click over here like this, now look, what is this? It is written count, okay? You can increase the number of columns over here. You can also select the color and then you can set the opacity over here like this as well. So I'm gonna click over here like this. And then look at this, we have this option, okay, columns. We can also change it to grids like this, and you can see this little dots over here like a graph paper, okay? You see this thin lines like this, okay? This pattern, okay? So this is the grid. Alright, so if you want to change it to, let's say, columns, rows, you can also do it like this. Look at that. It changed from columns to rows like this. Now let's change it back to columns, okay, like this. I'm going to click over here and then columns like this. Now look, how many columns do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So look at this over here. We have 5 columns over here. And look at this margin over here, 50 pixels of margin. So if I zoom in over here, so look at this over here. You see this first column over here, the gap between the first column and the start of our screen over here is 50 pixels. This is the gap, this is the margin over here. And regarding the gutter, we have 30 pixels of gutter over here, okay? Now look at this. This is the gutter, okay? The space between the columns, okay? This is 30 pixels. Now the best example that I can give you at the moment is this one. Wait a minute. This layout over here. You see this one over here? Offered courses. This has 3 cards. How many cards? 3 cards, which means that we can stack them on 3 columns, okay? Let me show you, okay? I'm gonna select this and look at this over here, okay? And now I'm gonna click this I button over here to show you how the layout grid is working. Okay, so look at this. How many layouts, how many columns do we have? We have 3 columns and 3 cards, okay? So how much gap did I put between the, how much margin did I put, okay? So I can see it over here like this, okay? Look at this. We have 3 columns, so it's gonna be highlighted 3 over here, and the color is this one, red. And this is used to change the transparency, okay? So if I increase the size like this, look at that, it gets much red, okay? I'm gonna change it to 10% so that it is visible. Both the layout grid and content becomes visible, okay? 10% is a sweet spot, and we have margin of 77 pixels, okay? On the left and the right, and gutter we have 32 pixels. A couple of seconds ago, I told you that this layout grid is used to plan your content when you are making responsive websites. Web designs, okay? Let me show you a demo, okay? This is the best example that I can give you right now. So I'm gonna click this over here and look at this over here. How many columns do we have? We have 3 columns over here with 77 pixels of margin on the left and the right, and then we have 32 pixels of gutter, okay? So this is, you see this gap over here, okay? White colored space between the red and our start of our screen over here. This is 77 pixels of margin, okay? And this gutter over here, you see this white color over here, this is 32 pixels. This is the gutter, okay? So this is the desktop layout, okay? How many columns do we have? We have 3 columns, and 3 columns are stacking 3 cards. In case of the mobile layout, look at this, okay? I'm gonna click over here, this mobile on the page section, and look at this. How many columns do we have? We have just one single column, and this single column is stacking how many cards? 3 cards, because we have less space on the mobile version, okay? So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to inspect that layout grid, okay? So I'm going to click over here. Now look, how many columns do we have? We have just one single column. And how many margin do we have? 20 pixels of margin. Now if I zoom in, look at this. This space over here is 20 pixels of margin, okay? And this is the mobile layout. If you want to add layout grid on your frame, what you have to do is you're gonna select F, okay, on your keyboard like this, and then you're gonna drag it like this. Look at this, we have a frame, okay? If you want to add that layout grid, you're gonna select this like this, and look at this over here. You see this layout grid over here? You're gonna click this over here like this, the plus sign, okay? Then it's gonna add this pattern over here. If you want to change it, then you're gonna click this over here, and then you're gonna change it to columns or rows over here according to your needs, okay? I hope you understood how to use the layout grid. Alright, now I'm going to discuss about the constraints property, okay? In order to discuss about the constraints property, you're going to come to this section, this page over here, responsive test, okay? So you have noticed this before, okay? If you click any element like this, then you're going to find this constraints property over here. I'm going to discuss about this one, okay? This is used to test whether your design is responsive or not. So I use the constraints property along with a plugin named breakpoints, okay? So this is the plugin over here. I have actually included this section for you to test. So you're gonna come over here, okay? So do you see these guides over here? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, okay? I'm gonna come over here. You see this? These are our breakpoints. 414 pixel is the breakpoint for the mobile version, okay? 768 pixels is the breakpoint for the tablet version. This is the breakpoint for the laptop version, and this one is the desktop version, okay? Now look what happens if I resize it. So I'm gonna click this over here, okay? Look very carefully. Look at this. The constraint property is working. When I resize the window like this, look at this. Our content is at the very center over here. Don't worry, we're gonna recreate the results, okay? Just look what happens. So when I come to the tablet breakpoint, now look what happens. Now if I cross the tablet breakpoint, now look what happens. Okay, here is the tablet breakpoint. So I'm gonna cross the tablet breakpoint, okay, like this. Look at that. Look, our design changed because of the plugin named breakpoints. And if I resize it like this, now look what happens. We have some gaps over here, okay, and the content is actually at the very center over here. So if I resize it even further, now look what happens. The font size changes and the content increases in size like that. Look at that. Let me actually resize it again. Okay, now look what happens. Look at that. Small, large. This is the laptop. This is the tablet version. This is the laptop version. Tablet version, mobile version over here. Mobile, tablet, laptop. The constraint property is used over here. Okay, I'm gonna delete this over here real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. Okay, wait a minute. Now look at this. This is the design for the laptop version. This is the tablet version over here, and this one is the mobile version over here. Okay, so I'm gonna just focus on the mobile version over here like this. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my options over here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all my elements together. Okay, like this. And then I'm gonna group it together like this, Control G. Now if you select this one over here, and if you notice over here, now you see this blue color is highlighted, and this one over here as well. This is the top and this one is the left. Okay, which means that if you resize the window like this, wait a minute, like this, then what will happen is your content will be focused. I mean, your content will be locked on the left top like this. Look at that. But let's say that you want it to be on the bottom right. So how will you do this? Control Z. Okay, I'm gonna select this, I mean the entire content section, and I'm gonna select this one. Okay, bottom right. Now look what happens if I resize the window. Okay, now look what happens. It's gonna stay focused. I mean, it's gonna stay fixed on the bottom right. Look at that. Okay, now I'm gonna select this one and I'm gonna drag it down like this. Look at that. Our content is getting fixed on the bottom right. Now let's say that I want it to be on the bottom left. What will I do? I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to come to that constraints property. Wait a minute, this one. Okay, and then I'm going to select a bottom left. Okay, I'm going to just click this over here, or what I can do, I can just click this over here and select the left option like this. Okay, and now look what happens if I resize the window. I'm going to drag this over here. Now look, it's going to stay focused on the bottom left. Like that. So in the case of testing my responsiveness of my web designs, what I do is I'm gonna select all my content, and then I'm gonna center both horizontally and vertically like this. Okay, now look what happens if I resize the window like this. Look at that. Okay, it stays at the exact center like this. Okay, I do it for all my contents. Wait a minute, let me actually resize it, and I'm gonna select all this content over here like this. Control G. I have grouped them together. I'm going to select this and I'm going to enable this option. Okay, center, center. Same thing for the tablet version as well, like this. Okay, Control G and then center, center like this. Now there is a plugin named breakpoints. Okay, I'm going to right click over here and then select this plugins. Okay, you don't have to do anything, just look what I do. Okay, and if you want to test it out, I'm going to include this section over here. You're going to come to this section and then test it on your own, how the system works. Okay, so I'm going to select this plugins option over here, and then I'm going to select this breakpoints like this, and then it's going to give me this little window over here. Okay, I'm going to select new adaptive layout like this, and then I'm going to define my breakpoints over here, and I'm going to keep it over here as well. And let me actually, all right, then I'm going to select this one, and then I'm going to write over here 414, which is the mobile display breakpoint. Okay, and then I'm going to write over here 768, which is the tablet screen, and then I'm going to click this plus sign over here. Okay, and then I'm going to write over here 1024 pixels laptop version, and then plus sign over here again, over here 1440 pixels, 1440 pixels, which is the desktop version. Okay, now look at this plus sign over here. I'm going to click this and I'm going to select this mobile layout like this. Plus sign over here, I'm going to select this tablet version. Okay, I'm going to select this over here, and I'm going to select this laptop as well. Okay, now this is the result we got so far. Okay, now look, this content is at the very center. If I resize it, wait a minute, let me actually select this, and then look at this, what happens. Look what happens. Okay, oh, I actually need to increase the width over here as well, like this. Look at that. I mean height, I need to increase the height like this. Now look what happens if I resize the window. Okay, like this. Look at that. So this is the mobile version. Okay, this is the tablet version, and this one is the laptop version. The constraints tool and the breakpoint tool, both of them are very handy if you want to test out your responsiveness of your web design. So I'm going to keep it as it is so that you can come and practice over here, okay? Alright, now I'm going to talk about a tool called components, okay? So look at this over here, this footer over here. This is actually a component, okay? We are gonna, you and me together, we're gonna change this social media icons with this one over here. I'm gonna come to this assets over here and look at this social media icons over here, okay? We're gonna replace this. So we're gonna replace this one with these ones over here, okay? But before that, let's actually test what does our components do, okay? So I'm gonna come to the left side over here and I'm gonna draw a frame F and then like this, look at that. Now let's say that I'm gonna write some dummy text over here, okay? Like this, A, B, C, D, okay? Control A and I'm gonna change the size to, let's say, 100 pixels, okay? Like this, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna change the font weight to regular, okay? Now look what happens. If I copy this to, let's say, 3 times, okay? This is the second time, this is the third time over here, okay? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit like this. Now look what happens. Let's say that one of many benefits of the components function is that it helps you to stop repeating the same design again and again. There is a day and night difference between copying and pasting the same thing and using the components, okay? Let's say that I have copied and pasted 3 times over here, okay? 1, 2, 3. Let's say that I want to remove the C, okay? I don't need the C, okay? So what I have to do is I'm going to select this over here and I'm going to remove the C over here like this, okay? Same thing, I have to repeat how many times? 3 times. 1 time, 2 time over here like this, okay, and 3 time over here like this. Look at that. But if I use a component, wait a minute, let me actually remove this from here and I'm going to write ABCD over here, okay? If I write, oh sorry. Now if I make it a component, how to make a component, okay? I'm going to click this button over here, create component, or what I can do is I can right click over here and create component. Like this. Now look, this is a component over here. You can see, you can tell it by looking at this icon over here, or you can also tell it by looking at this highlight over here. A component is highlighted in purple color, okay? Now look what happens if I copy from this component, okay? Alt and then click over here and then drag like this, okay? Now look at this over here. Look at my layers over here. This is a diamond shape, which means that this is an instance of the parent component. This is the parent, this is an instance, okay? I'm gonna do it the same like this again. Let's say I want to do it more 3 times, okay? Like this, look at that. And let's say that I have to change it. I have to remove the C. What will I do? I have to remove it 6 times. I have to do the same thing 6 times. But if I use a component like this one, now look what happens if I remove the C from the parent component like this. Look at that. I remove this C. The C is removed in all my 6 designs over here. Look at that. By just changing this one over here and nothing else. Everything is changed. This is the main selling point of the components, okay? So I'm going to delete this from here and look at this design over here. Look at my footer over here. This social media icons, it is blue in color. It doesn't go with our theme. If I come to our color palette over here, look at this. This is my color palette over here. Okay, you can check the hex value over here as well. Look at this hex value and this hex value as well. Alright, now this doesn't go with our color over here. This is blue color, light blue color. So I'm gonna change it to black and white. Okay, this one over here. This, if you come to this assets over here, this one. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this frame over here and then hit Alt on my keyboard like this, and then I'm gonna drag it like this. Okay, it's gonna get copied, and then I'm gonna right click and then I'm gonna select this option over here, move page to desktop. Okay, I'm gonna come to desktop over here. Wait a minute, there we go. We have our design over here. You actually need to zoom out a little bit so that you can see where the frame is. Okay, like this. I got my frame over here. Alright, now I'm gonna select this one. Now I'm gonna select this Twitter option over here by double clicking over here and then double clicking again like this. Now I can see the exact width and height of my Twitter over here. Twitter icon over here. It is 48.81 pixels. So I'm going to copy this from here like this, Control C. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize all of my social media icons. Okay, like this. I'm going to select this over here and then I'm going to hit K on my keyboard. Okay, like this. I can resize it like this. Look at that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock it over here like this. This is the constraints property. and then Control V. If I paste it over here, then this value will automatically get applied on my height over here as well. Okay, so I'm gonna select enter like this. Now look at that, it gave me accurate calculations. So I'm gonna drag it over here, wait a minute, over here like this. By the way, this photo over here is the main parent component, okay, which means that if we change anything over here, then all the children components, I mean all the instances, will get changed as well. Look at this, I placed the social media icon, the Facebook, black and white over here on the parent component, and it got applied over here on the children component. Same thing goes for all the children components as well. Look at that, we have this Facebook icon over here. Now I'm going to delete this one over here, okay, the blue colored one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and then I'm going to double click over here, and then I'm going to delete like this. Look, it got removed, and the same thing got removed from all the parent, I mean children components as well. Look at that, we didn't have the social media icons over here. Same thing for all the footer instances. Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here, and I'm gonna resize them also in a similar manner. I'm gonna hit K and then resize it like this. Look at that, and then I'm gonna hit this constraints property, and then I'm gonna paste the value that I have copied. Okay, Control V, enter. Look at that, so I'm gonna select it together, and I'm gonna drag it on here like this. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna arrange the serial like this, and then I'm gonna hit Shift plus A after dragging, after selecting all this, okay, like this, Shift A, and then I can adjust the gap over here like this. Let's say I want gap of 10 pixels. Okay, I change my mind, I'm gonna select it 20 like this. There we go. I can also change the stroke as well. Okay, if I select Control on my keyboard, and if I select this stroke over here like this, then it's gonna select me this. Look at this, I'm gonna change it to 2. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Hit Control on your keyboard, and then hit Control on your keyboard, and then select this circle over here, and then change it to 2 from 3.5 to like this. Look at that, it looks beautiful. Double click over here, and then follow the orange colored guides. Okay, look, our content is, look, our social media icons are aligned to the left according to those text over there. Okay, now if I inspect all of my let me actually delete this from here. Now if I inspect all of my children instances, look at this, the same thing got applied over here, because we changed the parent component. All the children instances are bound to change. Look at that. I really hope that you understood how to use this useful tool named components. Congratulations guys, we're done discussing all the essential tools of Figma. Now we're gonna start making our web design for the desktop version. Let's get started. But the first question is, how will we practice? Alright, then we're gonna practice like this. Over here we're gonna draw our frames, okay, like this. And then we're gonna copy this design on our practice case over here. As a beginner, this is completely fine to copy others' works and designs, because this is a part of the learning process. So I'm gonna delete this from here like this, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this to the right side, okay, and then I'm gonna draw frame over here like this. Follow along with me. I'm gonna hold my shift, and then I'm gonna select the names like this. Okay, I mean names of the frame like this. All right, and then I'm gonna select the footers, and then I'm gonna drag it over here like this. There we go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in over here. Okay, by the way, this is my color palette over here. I'm gonna keep it over here. There we go. And then I'm gonna make a frame over here. Okay, so I'm gonna select my F, which is frame tool. Okay, F, and then I'm gonna select this over here. Okay, desktop, and then this one, desktop, which has a dimension of 440 pixels in width like this. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna keep it over here like this. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make grid layers. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this element over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna select this little icon over here. Okay, so that I can see the grids over here, and then I'm gonna select this so that I can better see what is the margin and what is the gutter over here. Okay, we can see 50 pixels of margin over here. But let's say that in certain scenarios you cannot actually see how much is the margin over here. So what will you do in this case? In this case, what you can do is let me actually show you a trick over here. So I'm gonna come over here. Okay, do you see my text over here and this gap over here? I'm gonna draw a rectangle over here. Let me actually show you. Okay, I'm gonna hit R, and then I'm gonna draw a little rectangle over here, and I'm gonna keep it over here like this, and it's gonna snap inside this. Let me actually zoom in a little bit so that you can better see how this is working. Alright, so look at this rectangle over here, and then I'm gonna stretch it to this till this side over here, okay, like this. Wait a minute, like this. Look at that, this rectangle is filling that gap over here. Now if I select this over here and if I inspect this rectangle, you can see that this rectangle is 50 pixels in width, which means that here is 50 pixels of gap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this rectangle from here. Alright, then I'm going to come to my main design over here, I mean the practice case, and then I'm going to give this one over here, auto layout grid, okay, like this. And then I'm going to change it to columns like this, okay. And then I'm going to give here how many pixels of margin? 50, because we found out through the rectangle that it is 50 pixels of margin, okay, like that. And let's actually see what we have specified in the grid, like this, okay. And 30 pixels of girder, okay. There we go, like that. 30 pixels over here. If you hold shift and up, if you hold shift and then press the up arrow button, then it's gonna change 10 scale at a time, like this. Look, it is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 while I'm holding the shift. But if you release the shift and if you use the arrow sign, I mean up arrow sign, then what will happen is it's gonna change 1 pixel like that. It is 80 pixels, okay. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86 is gonna take a lot of time. So I'm gonna use the shift, okay. I'm gonna jump to 36 and then I'm gonna write 30 over here like this. There we go. Looks quite perfect. Now we're gonna make this nav bar over here, okay. In order to inspect this element, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select Control on my keyboard, okay, and then I'm gonna click over here like this. Now you can see all the properties over here. Do you see this? The color, the font family, the font weight, font size, etc. Okay, so look at this, it is 90 pixels. So I'm going to copy this from here like this, Control C. Then I'm going to come over here and then hit T on your keyboard like this, T, and then click over here, okay, and write edu, edu.io, and the font family is Poppins, which is correct over here. Change it to semi bold over here like this, and then select 90 over here like this, 90, okay. I'm gonna keep it over here like this, okay. Do you see this orange colored guides? It's gonna snap like this, okay, so you don't have to do anything manually. The next thing that we have is home, teachers, contact us, sign in options. By the way, you have this desktop typography guide over here which you can follow, okay. So this logo is 90 pixels over here. The nav items, each of these nav items are 47 pixels in size, okay. So I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna hit T on my keyboard like this, T, click, and I'm gonna write home over here, okay. Same thing, I'm gonna copy it 4 times like this, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, okay. I'm gonna write over here teachers, and I'm gonna write over here contact us, and over here sign in. We also need to change the font weight. In order to inspect the font weight, I'm going to come over here on the original design, and then I'm going to click Control on my keyboard, click like this. Look at this. We have regular and 47 pixels. Also the font size. We have regular font weight, 47 pixels, font size, and look at this. The font family is Roboto, okay? So I'm going to come over here like this, and I'm going to select all of them together. How will I do this? Look at that. I'm gonna drag all of them together like this, select all of them together like this, and I'm gonna write over here 47, okay, enter, and then I'm gonna write regular over here like this. Look at that. And then I'm gonna write over here Roboto, because the font is Roboto over there on the original design, Roboto. There we go. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of them together like this, and then Shift A, or what I can do is I'm gonna right click over here and then add auto layout, or you can also do it by using the shortcut Shift plus A. I'm going to do it over here like this. Alright, now I'm going to click this over here because it should be on the horizontal line like this. Look at that. There we go. And then I'm going to click this over here and I'm going to select this so that it always, all the text should remain at the center over here, both horizontally and vertically inside this frame like this. Look at that. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it to this side over here of my grid lines, okay, like that. Look at that. There we go. It snaps like this. Alright then. Now if I look at the original design over here, okay, if I select this over here by double clicking over here like this, then you can see that we have 50 pixels of gap, which means that it should be 50 pixels of gap as well between the nav items. So I'm going to click this over here like this, and it is set to 93. So I'm going to change it to 50 pixels. There we go. I'm going to snap it on the grid lines over here like this again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both the logo and the nav items like this. Oh, by the way, you should change the home text to medium. Okay, you're going to click this over here and then from regular to medium like this. Okay, because on the original design over here it is set to medium as well, because this is the current design. Alright then, so I'm going to click both of them together like this and then shift plus A. Now look at that, my nav items are shifted at the top. In order to bring it at the very middle, at the very center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this over here, okay, and then select this over here. Now look, it looks exactly carbon copy of the original document, original design. Now look at this over here. On the original design we have this rectangle over here, okay, underline over here. How do we recreate this? Okay, follow along with me. Okay, so I'm going to click this over here and then I'm going to lock it. I'm going to lock my content like this. Okay, I'm going to zoom in over here like this. I'm going to select the rectangle tool by pressing the R button on my keyboard, R, and then I'm going to select, I'm going to make a rectangle over here like this. I'm going to resize it like this so that I can see the orange guides over here. Okay, the orange guides are snapping like this. Look at that. I'm going to change it like this, 7 pixels in height and 126 pixels in width. Okay, now I'm going to change the corner radius like this. I'm going to write 10 over here. Okay, there we go. And in order to change the color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. Okay, while selecting that, look at this color palette over here. Okay, I'm going to select this color from here and then this I button over here. Okay, like that, and then I'm going to select this one. Look at that, I have successfully changed the color and also made this underline on my nav items. There we go, it looks quite the same as this one. Now the next thing that we need is the image, this asset over here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come to this assets page over here. Okay, and then look at this, we have the asset over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this and then press the alt key on my keyboard like this, and then I'm gonna drag it like here. I'm gonna drag it like this over here, and I'm gonna right click over here and then move to page, desktop like this. Then it's gonna send me to the desktop page over here, but you actually need to search where the asset has moved to. Okay, by zooming out like this, and there we go, we have our asset over here like this. Okay, now look at this, we have some unnecessary gap around our illustration, just like a tattoo. Okay, so I'm gonna select this over here. Now look at all of these files over here. Do you see this? On welcome number 2, this is a frame. Okay, so look at this, we have so many vectors over here. I'm gonna select the very last one like this one. Okay, I'm gonna select the very last one over here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna literally delete this from here. Delete. Now look at that white space went away. I'm gonna select this text over here. Okay, I'm gonna select the whole frame like this. Now look, we still have some gap around our illustration. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select this over here. You see this? Okay, select this and then select group over here. Now look, all the white space went away like that. So I'm going to bring it over here like this. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to copy the width and height of this image, okay, by double clicking over here. Now do you see this? So the first thing that we can do is we can either copy both of them together and then paste them on this illustration one by one. But if you want to save a little bit of time, what you can do is you can just select this one and then copy only the width. Okay, Control C. And then you select this one and then you click this constraints proportion, okay, like this, and then paste it over here like this. Now what it will do is it's gonna scale our illustration proportionately. It's gonna follow the proportional measurement, and also it's gonna change our height as well according to the proportional measurements. Okay, so I'm gonna click enter like this. There we go. Now look, it looks as similar as this one. You see this? I'm keeping both of them on top of another. Look, it looks quite the same. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it over here and then I'm gonna take the help of this orange colored guide and snap my image over here on my grids like that. Look at that. All right, now regarding the text, how do we write the text? Okay, so I'm gonna double click over here and double click over here again like this. Now it's gonna copy the text. Okay, Control C. You don't have to write anything. Okay, just copy the text. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and then T, click over here. Okay, Control V. So I have copied the text over here, and along with that it changed these properties over here as well. Alright, so I'm gonna keep it over here like this. and I'm gonna come back over here like this, double click over here, and if you want to copy something quickly, what you're gonna do is you're gonna double click over here, okay, and then you're gonna hit Alt on your keyboard, Alt, and then drag it over here like this. Look at that, it got copied very quickly like this. Now regarding the button, how to create a button, I'm gonna use the auto layout, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here, and then firstly I'm gonna hit the T, okay, click, and I'm gonna write login, okay, sorry, log in. Now let's see the properties of this text over here, okay. Control click like this, 45 pixels, bold robot, okay. So I'm gonna write robot over here, roboto, and bold over here, 45 here as well, enter. Now look what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click this over here and then right click, add auto layout like this. Look at that, okay. Now we have a invisible background, so I'm gonna click it over here, and do you see the fill over here? I'm gonna click this fill, I'm gonna select this over here, okay. And do you see my color palette over here? This is actually not complete black, it is actually, it has a color, okay. Do you see this color over here? It is this color. So I'm gonna select this again, and the fill, I'm gonna select this one and this I button over here, and then I'm gonna click over here like this. Look at that, it got very dark. So I'm gonna double click over here on the text, or control click like this, okay. So and then this is set to black. I'm gonna select this and F 6 times or 3 times. You can also write it 3 times, F, enter. Look at that, we have white colored text inside our black colored button. So I'm gonna click this over here, and I'm gonna set some border radius, okay, I mean corner radius. Let's set it to 18 pixels, okay. Let's actually see the original one, it is actually 18 pixels, okay. And width is this one, so I'm going to copy the width from here, Control C, and the height is 105 pixels, okay. And I'm going to paste it over here. Look at that, you cannot actually change it over here, but in this cases what you can do is you're going to come over here and just drag it over here like this, a little bit, not too much, and you can see this, it got unlocked and the height is locked. In order to unlock that height, you're going to click over here like this, and you're going to drag it like this. Look at that, the height and width, both of them got unlocked, okay. So I'm going to paste the width over here, Control V, enter, okay. Don't worry, we're going to change the properties, okay. And the height should be wait a minute, it should be, I guess, 72, 105, okay. I'm going to select this and 105, enter. Now look, we need the text to be at the very center. Do you remember this property over here, this little icon? I'm going to select this and I'm going to click this over here, so that it gets centered at the very middle like this. Look at that, both horizontally and vertically. Look at that, we got our solution over here. Alright, so I'm going to keep the button over here, and I'm going to replicate another button. How do I do this? Alt on your keyboard and drag it like this. Look at that, and I'm going to write over here what? Come on, tell me. Sign up, this one, okay. Wait a minute, sign up, okay. So always turn this one on, so that extra white spaces gets reduced and the button stays, I mean the button text remains at the very center, okay. So I'm going to click it over here again, so that this is enabled, okay. Auto width is enabled. So what this does is it removes all the extra white spaces, so that your button looks proportional, aesthetic. So now look at this, even if we have our buttons like this, what we're going to do is we're going to use auto layout, okay. So I'm going to select both of them together and Shift plus A like this. Look at that, okay. And then I'm going to click this over here and then center over here like this, so that it always remains at the center. And look at this, we also need to add some drop shadow to our buttons. How do we do this? I'm going to click it over here like this, and look at this effects over here. I'm going to click it over here like this, okay. Now let's look at our original document. What is the property of our effect? The drop shadow effect, okay. So I'm going to select this button over here like this, wait a minute, like this, and then I'm going to select this drop shadow over here. So it is set to 10 on the X, Y is 10, and the blur is 4 over here, okay. So I'm going to come to this practice over here, and then I'm going to select the button, I'm going to select this drop shadow, I'm going to set over here 10 like this, the blur is 4, that's fine, and for the Y it should be 10 like this. There we go. Now in order to transfer this blur radius to this button over here, instead of doing it again, instead of repeating the same thing, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here, double click over here, and then look at this. I'm gonna double click over here, and then I'm gonna right click over here, and then copy / paste, okay. I'm gonna copy the properties, and I'm gonna double click over here and right click and then I'm gonna paste the properties over here like this. Look at that, I have successfully transferred the box shadow of the first button to the second button over here like that. Look at that. This is how the copy paste properties works. Okay, so far so good. Now let's look at the gap between the buttons on the original document. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. Now instead of looking at the auto layout, what you can do is you can just select this second button over here and then Alt. You hit Alt, and wherever you place the mouse, it's gonna show that distance between that button and the element like this. Look at that. I'm gonna keep my mouse on the first button over here. Let me show this to you again. Okay, so I'm gonna double click over here and double click again, or just hit Ctrl on your keyboard and then left click, sorry, like this, and you're gonna hit Alt on your keyboard. Okay, and you're gonna place your mouse on the first button over here. Now look at this. Let me actually zoom in. Okay, look at this. We have 53 pixels of gap between the first and the second button. So I'm gonna come over here. As you remember that we have enabled auto layout on our buttons over here, so I'm gonna click this over here, and then I'm gonna come over here and write 53 pixels of gap. Okay, 53, enter, like that. Look at that. Now regarding the gap between our text over here and the text over here, I mean the first text and the second text, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna come over here like this. I'm gonna control click like this, and then I'm gonna hit Alt on my keyboard, Alt, and then I'm gonna put my mouse on this second text. Look at that, we have 41 pixels. I can see 41 pixels of gap. So I'm gonna come over here, and instead of doing manually, just select both of them together like this and Shift plus A, and then you click this option, and then you're gonna do it like this. Okay, you're gonna keep it at the middle left, like that. Look at that. Okay, so how much was the gap again? 41, right? So I'm gonna come over here, and do you see this option after clicking this? 41 pixel, like that. 41, enter. There we go. Now let's look at the difference, I mean the distance between the buttons and the text. Okay, I'm gonna select this button over here, and then same process. Okay, Alt on your keyboard, and then select that text over here like this. Look at that, 41 pixels as well. So I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna select this and the button like this. Look at that, and then Shift plus A. Now I'm gonna write 41 over here, enter. There we go. Look at that, we have successfully copied the design from the main design to our practice case over here. Now we actually need to align our content according to these gaps and various properties, right? So I'm gonna click on here, okay, this block over here, and then I'm gonna click Alt on my keyboard. Same process, right? So I'm gonna keep my mouse at the bottom so that I can see the gap between my screen and the content. Look at that, it is 109 pixels over here. You see this 109 pixels? So I'm gonna come back over here, click this, and then Alt. I'm gonna hit Alt on my keyboard, and then I'm gonna put my mouse over here like this. Look at that, this is 213 pixels of gap between this corner, I mean this window, and this content over here. Okay, so what was the original one? It was 109. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag it at the bottom like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna test it again. Okay, I'm gonna click this over here and Alt, and then I'm gonna put my mouse over here. Look, it is 124, which means that I have to go a little bit below, like that. Okay, let's test again. Alt over here, 104. So I'm gonna click this, and then 105. Press the up arrow on my keyboard. Okay, 104. It is currently on 104. Okay, 105, 106, 7, 8, 9, like that. And I'm gonna select this over here and Alt on my keyboard. Put my mouse over here. Look at this. This is perfect. 109 pixels over here. Regarding our image over here, let's fix that as well. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna select this image over here by double clicking over here, and I'm gonna press Alt on my keyboard, Alt, and then I'm gonna put my mouse over here. 167 pixels over here. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here, back over here, and then drag it at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm gonna select Alt. Look at that, 140 pixels. Okay, so I'm gonna click this over here, Shift and up arrow, Shift up, so it's gonna move 10 pixels. Okay, so it's currently 150, 160, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have pressed 7 times my up arrow. Now look at that, I'm gonna click this over here and Alt. I'm gonna put my mouse over here like that. Look at that, 167 pixels of gap between our image, I mean illustration, and the bottom screen. Now look at this original design over here. Do you see these little doodles over here? Do you see these little flakes over here? How to recreate them? let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out and I'm gonna come to this assets page over here. Okay, so now look, I have actually included this flakes illustration over here. Okay, so I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna copy this like this, alt drag like this. Okay, right click, move page to desktop. Okay, so I'm gonna come to desktop over here, zoom out and look where the file is. Okay, the file is over here, I mean the frame is over here. Okay, so I'm gonna click it over here like this and I'm gonna bring it back over here like this. Wait a minute, there we go. Now look, I'm gonna zoom in into the main file. Okay, like this. Now look at that, we have this triangle over here, circle over here, and then this wave pattern over here. How to recreate that? So I'm gonna come to this flakes image over here, and first of all, what was it? Triangle. Okay, so I'm gonna copy a triangle from here. Look at that, we have a triangle over here. So I'm gonna hit Control on my keyboard and then click over here like this. Look at that, I have selected this. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the Alt keyboard to copy. Okay, Alt, and then I'm gonna drag it from here like that. Look at that, do you see this? Do you see what is on my hand over here? I have copied it, so I'm gonna paste it over here directly on my practice image over here. Okay, like this. I'm gonna release my mouse and then I'm gonna release the Alt key. There we go. Now the next thing is I have this circle over here. Okay, now in order to select the circle, look at the circle over here. I'm going to select this, Control click and then Alt drag like this. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select this over here, and then I'm going to increase the size a little bit. How to do that? I'm going to hit K on my keyboard and then I'm going to drag it like this a little bit, and then it's going to become a little bit bigger. Okay, now what do we have? We have this wave pattern over here. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select this wave over here. Now now look at this, this is a little bit tricky. Okay, so this wave is actually multiple icons together. Okay, if I control and click over here, now look at this, this whole wave doesn't get selected. Okay, just a single part gets selected. So in this case, what should you do? You're gonna hit Control and Shift, both of them together. Okay, like this, Control Shift and then click like this, click 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 click. Okay, and then you're gonna do what you're gonna do. You're gonna press Control G on your keyboard, which means we're gonna make it a group. Or what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click over here and then make it a group selection like this. Look at that. Now this will behave like a single element instead of behaving like a 4 individual different elements. Okay, now I'm gonna copy this from here, Alt click. Okay, now I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna paste it over here, and then I'm gonna rotate it a little bit. Okay, like that. There we go. So it looks quite similar to this one. Now I'm gonna increase the gap between them like this. Look at that. There we go. And in order to change the color of this triangle and this wave pattern, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here on the main design, Control Shift. Okay, click this one and then click this one. Oh, sorry. You're gonna click on here first. Okay, and then click this over here, then eyedropper over here, and then you're gonna select this one. Okay, so far so good. You're gonna click this over here and then select this fill over here, then this eyedropper over here. Okay, and then you're gonna select this one. There we go. Look at that, we have colored our flakes like that. Okay, it looks quite similar to the original design. This is our practice case and this is our design over here. Look at that. Now we have a lot of flakes over here around our image over here, and then we have a little bit of over here. So I'm gonna pause the video and complete all of these doodles over here. In the meantime, you do the same. You pause the video and you complete. You see the original file over here and then you mimic the same on your practice case over here. Alright, so I'm gonna see you after a couple of minutes. So welcome back. I have completed all of these doodles over here like this. Look at that. It looks quite the carbon copy of the original design over here. Congratulations, we're done creating our first web design. Now let's move on to the next section. This one over here. Okay, we're gonna design this. So I'm gonna come over here and create a frame F. Okay, and then desktop over here like this. Look at that. I have created this frame over here, and then I'm gonna come to this assets over here and then select this one. Okay, this painter over here, and then copy it from here like this and right click, send it to, move to page desktop over here. Okay, I'm gonna come back to desktop over here and I'm gonna search for the file. Where is it? There is it. We have our painter over here like that. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and the process is same. Do you remember the process? You need to remove this white colored background. So select this and look at this highlighted over here. Okay, so I'm going to delete this vector at the very bottom over here. Right click, left click over here and then delete like that. Look at that. And now you're going to select this and then come over here on the frame, select it to group, and it's going to remove all the unnecessary white spaces. Okay, so I'm going to keep it over here like that. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to inspect this element. What is it? By double, and now I'm going to come over here and double click over here to inspect the element. Look at this width over here, 657. Click it over here, Control C. Come back over here like this, click, and then click this over here, constraints proportions. Okay, and then paste it over here like this, Control V, enter. There we go, like that. And I'm gonna keep it at the center like this and keep it at the center like this, or what you can do is you can just select this, align horizontal centers like this. Oh sorry, not this one, align vertical centers like this, and it's gonna get snapped to the very center vertically. Okay, there we go. And regarding this text over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna control click over here like this, and then I'm gonna hit Alt on my keyboard, drag it like this. Look at that. I'm gonna keep it over here like this. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing for this text over here as well. Control click and then hit Alt drag like this. Look at that. The process is same. You're gonna click over here and then Alt and then move your mouse to this first text. Okay, how many space do you see? It is 80 pixels. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and Shift A like this, and I'm gonna keep it at the very middle over here like this. I'm gonna click this. There we go. And it should be how much gap? 80 pixels, right? It is currently set to 51 pixels. So write 80 like this. Okay, enter. There we go. And then I'm gonna come back to this button over here. So I already have this button. We already created the button. So I'm gonna come over here and double click on this button. Double click on this button. Double click again over here. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this button by hitting Alt and then drag like this. Look at that. Okay. I'm gonna keep it over here. Release it. And I'm gonna change the text to get started. Okay, like that. Double click over here. Get started. Alright, now looks quite good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this button over here and then Alt on my keyboard, and then I'm gonna put my mouse on this text. Look at this. How much gap do you have? We have 80 pixels of gap. So I'm gonna come back over here and give 80 pixels of gap as well. Okay, so in order to do it quickly, I'm gonna click it over here like this, Shift plus A. Okay, and then I'm gonna click over here and I'm gonna keep it on the very middle like this, and then I'm gonna write 80 over here. It is actually set to 81, 80, enter. There we go, we're done. And regarding the flex, and regarding this little flakes over here, I'm gonna pause the video and complete it. You do the same. You pause the video and create these flakes over here, as I have showed you how to create these flakes. So then I'm gonna see you in a couple of minutes. So far so good. We actually forgot to include the layout grid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and then layout grid enable by clicking it like this. Okay, and then I'm going to click over here and then change it to columns. Okay, oh, sorry, not rows, columns like this, and I'm going to set the margin to 50 pixels over here like this. Okay, and then gutter should be 30 like this. All right, now we're going to snap. Now we're going to snap the content to the very right side over here like this, and then we're going to snap this image, this illustration, to the very left side over here like this. Okay, there we go. Looks quite good. We're done with this section over here. Now I'm going to show you how you can make cards. Now I'm going to show you how you can make cards over here like this. Okay, so I'm going to create a frame over here, F. Okay, and then select this option over here, and then I'm going to keep it side by side over here. All right, now look at this over here. So you do manually. So you do all of this works manually. Okay, I'm just going to copy and paste it over here. I'm just going to show you how to create these cards. Okay, so I'm going to copy from here like this and Alt drag it like this. Okay, and I'm going to keep these elements moving as long as I don't see the orange colored guides. Okay, like this. Look at that. You see the orange? Do you see this orange colored guides over here like this? Look at that. I'm going to release it right now like this. All right then. So I'm gonna do the same thing for this little elements over here like this. Okay, including the button. Alt drag like this. Okay, I'm gonna keep it over here. Now select the first frame, I mean the original design. Okay, and see the grids like this. So I'm gonna click over here like this. Wait a minute. we have 77 pixels of margin and gutter 32 pixels. So I'm gonna click over here and click the layout grid over here like this. So I'm going to change it to columns over here. Okay, so the margin is 77 pixels, so 77, enter like this. And the gutter was how much? Let me actually inspect it again. 32. Okay, click it again, click this one, 32 over here. Okay, wait a minute, 32, there we go. And we should have how many columns? 3 columns. Okay, click this, 3, enter. All right, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here and remove this columns like this and double click over here on the cards. Look at this width and height. Look at this one. Look at the width and height of our card number 1. Okay, it is 400 in width by 633 in height. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to select a rectangle by clicking R on my keyboard. Okay, click over here like this. Width should be 400. Okay, enter. And what should be the height? Let's actually inspect like this. 633. Okay, so click over here like this, write 633, enter. There we go, we have our cards. Okay, I'm gonna place it over here like this, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the color. You see this color, it is dark gray color. Okay, so I'm gonna snap it over here on my layout grid. Okay, and then I'm gonna remove. In order to remove the color, you click this minus sign over here like this, and in order to see the rectangle, you click this stroke over here. Okay, and then select it to 3 pixels like this, or perhaps even 4 would do. 4, enter. There we go. And now look at this border radius. We also have border radius around our main design. Okay, so I'm gonna create a border radius over here by clicking over here like this. Wait a minute, there we go, and it should be 15 pixels. Okay, look, it looks quite good and looks like the original one as well. And I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna create 2 more copies. Okay, Alt, drag like this. Do it again, Alt and drag like this. There we go. I'm gonna keep it at the top over here like this. I'm gonna take it at the top as well, and look at this. I'm gonna place it at the center of our grid like this. Okay, like this. Wait a minute, like this. There we go. Now how to place these images? Okay, come back to assets. Okay, you see these 3 images over here. Let's copy them. Okay, by selecting them by selecting all of them together. Okay, shift, click on the name, okay. Now Alt, copy like this, Alt, drag over here like this. Okay, now right click, move to page desktop like this. Okay, and go to desktop, zoom out and see where is it. Here is our images. Okay, click over here, click over here, click over here like this, bring it over here like this. And do you remember the steps? You're gonna click over here and you're gonna scroll at the very bottom over here and remove this vector from here. Okay, delete. Click on this frame over here and then change it to group over here like this. Now it's gonna remove all our extra additional white spaces. Okay, now drag it over here like this, come over here on the main design, select this one and look at this width and height, 359. Control this one and come over here, select this little constraint button over here like this and paste it over here like this. Control V, enter. There we go. We have a little icon over here. We can place it over here like this. And do you see this? We have a little part over here. Do you see this part? We don't have this part over here. Okay, so in order to remove that, we're gonna come over here and Control click like this and hit the delete keyboard. Hit the delete key on your keyboard and it's gonna get vanished like that. Look at that. There we go. Let's copy the names from here. Control click, Alt drag like this. Do the same process for the music and pharmacy as well. Like that. Control click, Alt drag over here like this, and do the same process. Do the same process for these images over here. You pause the video, take a minute and complete the process. Okay, I'm gonna come back in a minute. Alright, now I'm done doing the process. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna center our image and the text at the very center of our card. How do we do this? We're gonna click both the illustration and the chemistry like this, and I'm gonna shift plus A or click this auto layout over here like this. Okay, now look, it's gonna get at the very center, and the next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna click it over here like this and click it over here to keep it at the center, both horizontally and vertically. Okay, like this, look at that. Okay, and click it over here again and remove all of this gap over here. Okay, 0 like this, enter. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna copy this button from here. Okay, control click over here like this and alt drag. Okay, place it over here like this. Do the same for all the cards as well, like this. Now let's look at the gap between our button and our text. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and control click and alt. Press the alt button on your keyboard and put your mouse on this text over here. Now look, we have 19 pixels of gap. Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here, click this one and click this one by clicking my shift key on my keyboard like this. Shift plus A, it should be 19. Okay, I'm gonna put 19 over here, and in order to put this button on the very center, I'm gonna click this over here and click this. There we go. Now click both of them together like this. Now you're gonna click and then alt plus H, which means that we're gonna center both of them horizontally and vertically together. So alt plus H, alt plus H, alt plus V, like that. Look at that, we have horizontally and vertically centered both the card and the content. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna select both of them together, and I can either group them together in a group, or I can also use the auto layout. So I'm gonna just use the group. Okay, Control G, like that. It became a small group over here. Now you duplicate the same process and fix these cards over here. Okay, I leave this to you. Do you see this design over here? This is the same as number 1 over here and number 2 over here. Okay, so you're gonna do this on your own. Also, I believe that you can make this footer over here. So I'm not doing this, I'm just keeping this for you. Now let me show you how I made these cards over here. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to my assets over here, and I'm gonna come to let's say that I want to select just the first one. Okay, I'm gonna select this and alt drag over here like this. Okay, right click, move to page desktop. Okay, like this, it moved to my desktop. Let me zoom out. Here is my asset over here. I'm gonna keep it over here. Oh, by the way, what you're gonna do is you're gonna move this to the right side by clicking over here, shift click like this. Okay, you're gonna select all of them together like this, and you're gonna move it like this. There we go, it got moved over here like this. And I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna select my F on my keyboard. Okay, F, and then I'm gonna create this desktop frame like this. Look at that, and I'm gonna drag it over here like this. There we go. And regarding the nav bar, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy it from here. Okay, and then I'm gonna paste it over here like this, alt, and then drag it over here like this. There we go. But before that, we also need to enable the layout grid like this. Control click this over here and then layout grid over here, and change it to columns over here. And then what is the margin? Click over here and enable this over here like this. Look at that, we have this column grid over here. Select this over here, and we have 3 columns. And how many margins? 50 pixels of margin. Okay, 70 pixels of gutter. So come back over here like this, select this over here, write 3 over here. Okay, so how much was it? 50 and 70. 50 pixels margin, 70 pixels gutter. So come back over here and write 50 wait a minute, 50 over here and 70 gutter. There we go. Okay, now so I'm gonna select the first image over here. Okay, double click over here like this, double click over here, double click again over here. Now keep clicking unless you don't select the image. Okay, like this. Look, now I have selected the image. Look at that, I can see the width and height over here as well. So I'm gonna copy the width over here like this, Control C. Now I'm gonna come back over here. Okay, I'm gonna select my frame over here. You see this white space? How to remove that? You're gonna click over here and convert it to a group like this. Now look, we don't have any white space, so click on here like this and then enable this one. Okay, constraints property, and then paste the width over here like this, Control V, enter. There we go, we have our image over here. Okay, now how did I do this circle over here? Pretty straightforward. Okay, you're gonna select this circle by control click like this. Now look at this. I have a circle of 198 by 198 pixels. Okay, so I'm gonna click my O on my keyboard like this. Enter. Click. Now look at this. I have this circle over here. Click this constraints property and write 198 like this. 198. Enter. Okay. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep it over here like this. Look at that. In case if the circle is something like, if the circle looks something like this. Wait a minute, let me actually show you. In case if the circle looks something like this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click on the circle, send to back like that. Okay, and I'm gonna keep it over here unless I don't see the orange colored guide. Okay, look at that. It should be at the very center over here. Okay, if you don't see the guides, what you're gonna do is you're gonna select both of them together and hit Alt H, which means center horizontally like that. Now you're gonna select both of them together, and then do you see this option over here, use as a mask? I'm gonna select this. Now look at that. I have this option over here. Again, make a circle. Okay, O on your keyboard, click over here, and then use this 198 like this. Tap, enter like this. Now there we go. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna remove the fill from here. Do you see this? It has a fill. It is gray in color. Do you see this gray color over here on our circle? You're gonna remove that circle fill, and then you're gonna select the stroke over here and select 3 over here like this. Enter. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring it over here like this. Do you see this over here? Now bring it over here like this. Now if you move the circle, if you try to move the circle like this, you're gonna see orange colored guide which will snap. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select your circle. Okay, control click like this. Okay, now keep moving your circle as long as you don't see the orange colored guide which snaps at the very center over here like this. Look at that. It is actually getting snapped over here to the very center over here. Look at that. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select both of them together like this and Control G. Okay, now look, it got fixed. Okay, so we're done making this profile image over here. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna click it over here like this and drag it over here. But before that, you need to make this card. Okay, so how to make this card? So I'm gonna double click over here and see its properties. Look, width is 399. Let's consider it 400. Okay, so 400 by 400, which is a perfect square. So I'm gonna come over here, R on my keyboard, click over here like this, and what I'm gonna write is 400 by 400. Okay, I'm gonna click this over here and write 400 over here. 400. Enter. And I'm gonna remove the fill from here completely. Now let's actually see the main image. Control click like this, and look at this. We have a stroke property of 4 and this color. Okay, Control C. I'm gonna copy this stroke color like that. I'm gonna select our rectangle. Okay, like this. If you don't see the rectangle, what you're gonna do is you're gonna select like this. Now look, I can see my invisible rectangle. Click this stroke over here and paste the color. Control V, enter, and then I'm gonna write 3 over here like this. There we go. Now regarding the shadow, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here. You can just copy and paste the shadow, or what you can do is you can select this over here like this and then click this effects over here. Okay, and drop shadow, write 10 over here and 10 on the y-axis as well like this. Enter. Okay, now I'm gonna remove the guides from here by clicking this. Now you see this, we have a little odd behavior over here. You see this, we have white colored space over here. That is unexpected. So in order to remove that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click it over here like this. Wait a minute, you're gonna click this rectangle over here, square over here, and then you're gonna fill it with the color. Okay, color of white, complete pure white. Okay, FFF. Enter. Now look, the problem is solved. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna either write the text over here or copy the text from here. Okay, Control click, Alt drag like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna put my image over here like this. If you see something like this, right click and bring it to front like this. Okay, now now select both of them together like this and Shift plus A, and then select this option over here, keep it at the middle like this, and select both of them together, Shift plus A. And then also not Shift plus A, sorry. Click both of them together, Alt V and Alt H, which is center both horizontally and vertically, okay? Then I'm gonna make it a group, Control G, like that. There we go, we made ourselves a card component over here along with the profile picture image. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna replicate the same thing. So pause the video and complete the process over here, and I'll be back after a while. Alright, then we're done making our teacher's page. Now just copy this footer from here that you made earlier, okay? Click over here and then paste it over here like this. There we go. Now look at these two pages over here, the contact us page and the sign up page over here. Both of them looks more or less the similar. I'm going to show you how you can make this one, the contact us page, and you're going to make this one, the sign up form page, on your own. Sounds good? Now let's get started. Now I'm gonna zoom out and I'm gonna select this over here by clicking and then shift click. Okay, I'm gonna keep it on the right side over here like this. Now I'm gonna zoom in over here and select create a new frame. Okay, F and then desktop like this. There we go. And I'm gonna resize it a little bit like this. Wait a minute. There we go. Now I'm gonna copy this. From here. Wait a minute. I'm gonna select both of them together and Control like this. There we go. And look, we are in the contact us page, which means that we need to change this underline, okay? So I'm going to come to this original design over here and I'm going to select this and I'm going to drag it over here till this contact us page, okay? There we go, and then I'm going to drag it to cover all the area like this. And same thing for the teachers section as well. You see this one over here? So when we are on the sign up page, this underline should be on the sign up page as well. Okay, sounds good. Now I'm gonna come back over here. Now I'm gonna just copy this text from here, Alt, drag it over here like this, and in order to keep it at the very center, select both of them, Control G and then Alt H. Now look, it's gonna be at the very center of our frame over here. Now how did I make these icons along with the address, phone number, etc. Now I'm gonna come back to my assets page over here, and do you see these images over here, these icons? I'm gonna copy this from here, okay, Alt and then drag over here, okay? Then select both of the all of them together, right click, move to page, desktop, okay? So I'm gonna come back to desktop, zoom out and find there is my icons over here, okay? Then I'm gonna bring it over here like this, and I'm gonna select the K on my keyboard, okay? And then I'm gonna resize it like this. Okay, I'm gonna make it a small like this and I'm gonna drag it over here. Okay, I actually need to make it a little bit more smaller. Wait a minute, there we go. It looks quite good, and let's actually make it, there we go. It looks quite good, okay? Now regarding the address, okay, let's inspect what is the address font size, okay? Control click. Look at that, we have 30 pixels, font size regular Poppins, okay? So now let's actually duplicate the same thing, T, enter, abc@gmail.com, okay? Now in order to center the icon and the text both vertically, select both of them together and hit Alt H. Now look, both of them are centered. Now Control G to lock the position, okay? Now I'm going to keep it over here like this, and regarding this one, select again T, enter, okay? 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay? Now look what I do, okay? Select both of them together and Alt H. There we go. By the way, I actually changed my mind. Instead of making a group, make it a frame, okay? So click over here like this, Control Shift G to remove the group, okay? And hit Shift plus A like this, and click this over here and put it at the very center over here like this. Now come back over here. Let's inspect this one. What is the gap between our text and the image over here, okay? Let's inspect by clicking on here and then Alt, put your mouse over here, 31 pixels, okay? So come back over here, click this, write 31 over here, 31, enter. There we go. Same thing goes for here as well. Select both of them, Shift plus A, and click this over here. It's gonna be 31 over here, 31, enter. There we go. Keep it over here for now, and let's look at this one. It should be ABC, comma DEF, okay? So T, click like this, ABC, comma DEF, okay? Select both of them together like this, Shift plus A. keep it at the center like this. There we go. And now select all of them together like this, okay? Shift plus A, and then keep it at the center over here like this. In order to move it at the very center, hit Alt plus H like that. Change the gap a little bit to, let's say, 180 pixels like this, and click over here and again do Alt plus H, which is center horizontally. Or you can also use these options over here as well. Alright then, so far so good. Now let's make this input fields, okay? So let's inspect this one over here, control click. So 416 pixels by 82 pixels, okay? So I'm gonna come back over here like this, hit F on your keyboard. Sorry, R on your keyboard to make a rectangle, okay, like this. So it was 416, 416, enter. The height was, I actually forgot, sorry, it was 82, okay? So I'm gonna click it over here like this and 82 over here, enter. Then I'm gonna remove this fill by selecting this minus over here, okay, minus, and then stroke plus, put it to 3, okay, enter. Then increase the corner radius to 12 pixels, okay, there we go. It looks quite identical to this one. Now regarding this text, how do we input the text, okay? So I'm gonna come over here and inspect, okay, control enter. So we have 20 pixels of font size. So I'm gonna come over here and write T, click and write your name and then dot 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 like this, okay? It should be 20, so it is 20 over here. And now let's center it over here. So select both of them together and Alt H, or not Alt H, sorry, Alt V like this, okay? Now I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna keep the text, sorry, not this one, keep the text over here like this. There we go, it looks quite good. And I'm gonna come back over here, and do you see this? It looks, this is the original design. Do you see this color over here? In order to replicate the same, I'm gonna come to my original design over here, okay? I'm gonna control click over here, and do you see this transparency over here? It is set to 100%. I'm gonna set it to 50%, okay? Control 50, enter. There we go, we replicated the same thing. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select both of them, then Control G. I have made a group over here, okay? Alt drag like this, okay? And write your email over here. Email over here like this, okay? There we go. Now how do we make this text over here? The same process, okay? I'm gonna control click over here and see it's inspect the elements, okay? 414 by 210. This is the dimension over here. So let's do it. So I'm gonna click over here and copy it like this over here like this, and I'm just gonna simply drag it over here like this. There we go. And I'm gonna click over here and Control Shift G to release the grouping like that. I'm gonna write over here your message here, message here, okay? Now I'm gonna select this option over here. Do you see this option? Auto width. There we go. And I'm gonna keep it over here like this. Then Control G to lock our positions. All right, looks good. Now let's see the spacing, okay? I'm gonna click this first element, not this one, and then hit Alt on your keyboard, move your mouse. So from here to here it is 50, from here to here it is how much? 46, okay? Let's duplicate the same, okay? It should be Shift plus A and 46 over here, okay? And from here to there it should be, wait a minute, Shift plus A, okay? And then center it over here like this. It should be 50, okay? Write 50 over here like this, 50, enter. So we have nailed our gaps, okay? Now keep it at the very center, okay? Click this, Alt H, like that. And button, and regarding the button, you make the button yourself. So I'm leaving this sign up form to you. This is the same process as this one, okay? This contact us form and this one over here. This first page over here. I really hope that you can do it on your own. Congratulations guys, we have successfully completed the web design for the desktop version. Now we're gonna create the design for the mobile version. The mobile design is over here on this page over here. By the way, if you can recall, I have created these two pages over here, the laptop and the tablet version over here. Along with that, I have also included the style guides over here. I mean the typography guides over here, so that you can practice on your own at your house. This is your homework. So I'm gonna come back to mobile version over here, and then I'm gonna show you how I made this design over here, okay? So let's get started. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to move all of these elements on the very right side so that I can create new frames. Okay, so I'm going to select all of them together like this, okay, like that, and then I'm going to move it by clicking over here and then dragging over here like this. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to zoom in here, over here like this. Now I'm going to click the F on my keyboard like this, and then I'm going to select this phone option over here, and then I'm going to click this over here, iPhone 11 Pro Max, like this. There we go. We have our frame over here, and then I'm going to align it like this according to this frame, and then I'm going to select this one, the original one, okay, like this, and then I'm going to look at the border radius over here, corner radius. It is set to 40 pixels, okay, so I'm going to click this over here, and I'm going to set over here how much, 40, like this, okay, enter. Now let's make this nav bar over here. You see this one, okay, so I'm going to control click on this logo over here and see its properties. It is set to semi-bold, pop pins, font family, and font size is 48 pixels over here, okay. So I'm going to come back over here, okay, click on this, hit T on my keyboard and click. Okay, so I'm going to write edu.io like this, and it is also, and then I'm going to change the settings to forget over here like this, semi-bold, and then pop ins. All right, looks good. I'm going to keep it over here like this. There we go. Now, how do you create this hamburger menu icon over here? Okay, so you have two options. You can manually create that, or what you can do is you can download it from somewhere. Download the icon from some website like FreePic and many others. All right, today I'm going to show you manually how to create this hamburger menu icon. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all I'm going to inspect this element. Okay, control click like this, and then I'm going to see its properties. So how much is it set? Width is 30 pixels and the height is 4 pixels. All right, so I'm going to come over here like this, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, R on my keyboard and then drag it like this. All right, I'm going to write over here 30, and what was the height? It was 4. Enter. There we go. Now I'm going to set it to which color? Tell me. Not black. It is this color. I'm going to come to this desktop option over here, and I'm going to come to my color palette over here. You see this? This color over here. Okay, so I'm going to click it over here and copy it like this. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the mobile version, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste it over here like this on this section. Okay, Control V, enter. Boom. Now I'm going to create it 3 times. Okay, replicate it 3 times. Okay, 1. So how I did this, okay, let me show you. Control Z. First of all, you're going to hit Alt on your keyboard, okay, and then drag your mouse like this, okay, there we go, and then do the same thing again like this, Alt on your keyboard and drag, there we go. Now let's come to the original one over here, and what you're going to do is you're going to Control on your keyboard and click like this, okay. Now hit Alt on your keyboard and then move your mouse to this portion over here, the second line, okay, so that you can see the gap between the first and the second line. It is how much? 5 pixels, okay. So I'm going to come over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to multi-select all of them like this, okay, and Shift plus A. Now center it like this, and then I'm going to click it over here, and you see this gap property. I'm going to set it to 5. Enter. There we go. All set. Now what you're going to do is you're going to center both the logo and the icon horizontally, okay. Select both of them together like this and Shift plus A. Now look. The icon jumped at the very top. Let's fix that by clicking this over here and keep it at the very center horizontally like this. There we go. Now let's come to the original document over here and click this, okay. Now let's see its layout grid, okay. So I'm going to click this icon over here like this, and then I'm going to inspect this one, okay. It has how many columns? 1 column, margin is 20 pixels. Now let's recreate the same, okay. So I'm going to click over here like this and click this, okay. Layout grid. There we go, and I'm going to change it to columns, and then 1 over here, and how much is the margin? 20 margin, okay. There we go. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna we're gonna align it over here, okay. The logo and the hamburger icon, okay. So we need to increase the gap so that we can stretch it. Stretch the icon to the very right on our layout grid, okay, like this. Look at that, okay. There we go. Looks good. Now I'm gonna come back to the wait a minute. Yeah, it looks good. Now I'm gonna come back over here, click this, okay, and now look what I do. I'm gonna select Alt on my keyboard after clicking this nav bar over here, and then Alt on my keyboard, and I'm gonna put my mouse on this screen over here so that I can see the gap between the screen and my content. Okay, it is 19 pixel over here and 10 pixel at the top. If I come over here, it's gonna be the same, I guess. No, it's 20. Okay, so I'm gonna keep 19 over there. Okay, so how do I do that? Control Z. Let's see. Okay, if it is okay or not. Okay, so I'm gonna click this one, Alt on my keyboard, and then put my mouse over here. It is 20 over here, and over here it is how much? 21. So there is 1 pixel difference. Okay, not big difference. Okay, so let's actually increase 1 pixel over here. Click this one and then come over here and just increase 1. How do you do this? Click the up arrow sign on your keyboard. Okay, like this, and then the problem is fixed. Now let's inspect. Okay, so click this over here, Alt on your keyboard, put your mouse over here. So it is 20 over here, and on this side Alt, and then look at this, 20 over here as well, but at the top it is how much? 9. So move it a little bit, just 1 pixel. Okay, so click this and then down arrow on your keyboard, down like this. Now let's inspect. Alt on your keyboard, keep it over here. Look at this, 10, 20, 20. It is symmetrical. All right, looks good. Now regarding the image, how do we work with this? Same thing, come to your assets over here and look at this one. Okay, click on here, Alt on your keyboard, drag over here like this. Okay, right click, move to page what? Mobile. All right, so zoom out a little bit so that we can see where our asset got transferred. Okay, so it is transferred over here. Bring it over here like this, and the drill is the same. Okay, you're gonna double click over here, or what you can do is you can just click on here, not here, sorry, over here, and you're gonna select, you're gonna see all of this vector get selected. Okay, just select the very last one. Okay, this one, and delete on your keyboard like this. It got deleted, and look at this white space. If I click this name over here, you see this unnecessary white space. In order to remove them, click this frame over here and select group. There we go. All our unnecessary white spaces went away. So I'm going to keep it over here, and look, it's very big. Okay, so we need to resize it, rescale it. Either you can hit K on your keyboard, or just hit Shift on your keyboard and just drag it over here like this. All right, like this. Let's do it manually instead of copying the properties from here. Okay, let's manually hold Shift on your keyboard and drag it like this. Okay, it's gonna resize proportionately like this. Okay, now you're gonna follow the orange guides. Now you're gonna follow the orange guides over here. You see these orange guides? Let me zoom in. You can see the orange colored guides. Okay, you see these guides? You see that it's snapping. Okay, so I'm gonna stretch it till my layout grid over here. Okay, there we go. Boom. Now let's inspect the gap between our nav item, nav bar, and our image. Okay, on the original document. Click this, Alt on your keyboard, and put it over here, 47. So click this, Alt on your keyboard, put it over here, so 36.71. So what was this? 47. Okay, so I'm gonna put it over here. Let's say this much gap. Click over here and Alt, put it over here. It's 58. Okay, it should be 47. So Shift plus up. Let's see how much is that. We have moved 10 pixel up. So Alt on your keyboard, this 48. So it was 47. So click again and press up arrow sign 1 time like this. Now look, it's equal measurement. All right. And regarding these flakes over here, you see these little flakes. Okay, you're gonna put them on your own. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it as it is because I showed you how to recreate these doodles over here, these flakes over here. Okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to this assets over here. Okay, and then you're gonna use this assets over here. Okay, all right, so let's come back to the mobile over here. Now let's duplicate this text over here and create the button. All right, now click this, Alt on your keyboard, and drag over here like this. Okay, by the way, I also give you this chart over here, the typography guide, like what should be the font size of the logo, then the large text, small text size, button, etc. So that you can make all the elements with accurate calculations. Okay, so zoom out and come over here. All right then, so what we are gonna do is we're gonna copy this over here as well. Okay, like this, click over here, Alt, drag like this. All right, there we go. Now let's see how to create this button over here. Okay, the same thing. Okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit T on your keyboard. Okay, then click like this. Now you're gonna write log in like this. Okay, now come over here and inspect the original document. Click hit Control and then click. Now look, we have font size of 24, Roboto, bold. Alright, so come over here, write 24, Roboto, and then it should be how much? Bold. There we go. And we're gonna change the color to white because the original button is white in color. Alright, like this, F 3 times or write 6 times. Okay, it looks invisible. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit Shift plus A on your keyboard and make auto layout like this, Shift plus A. Okay, in case if you can't find your invisible button over here, do this. Okay, if you select like this, then you can select your button. Alright, now come at the bottom over here and hit fill and fill it with the color black, 0 0 0, enter. There we go. Now we can see our button. Okay, so come over here, Control click. Look at the height, it is 55.41. Let's consider it 55, and the width is 374, which stretches from the very left to the very right to our layout grid. So what is the border radius? 9.49. Okay, so click over here, write the border radius, corner radius 9.49. Alright, there we go. Now the height is how much? 55. Look at this, the height and the width is locked. In order to unlock it, just come over here and drag it a little bit over here like this, resize it a little bit over here, the height gets unlocked, and do the same over here, little bit over here, the width gets unlocked as well. Alright, now in order to if you notice carefully, then you can see that the text is not at the very center of our button. How to do it? Just click over here, center like this, both horizontally and vertically. Okay, now the height of the button should be 55, enter. And the width, instead of doing it manually, instead of doing it over here directly, just put it over here like this and then drag like this. Okay, extend till the end over here like this. Okay, there we go. Now copy the button over here like this. Alright, now Control click, double click over here and then sign up. There we go. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna click both of them, then hit Shift plus A, and now center the button both horizontally, vertically together like this. Alright, now let's inspect the gap between our first and the second button. Okay, Control click on the original button and then Alt, put your mouse over here. How much? It is 17 pixels of gap. Okay, so come over here and click this and it should be 17. There we go. Alright, now looks good. Now I'm gonna remove the layout grid from here like this. Okay, along with that, remove the layout grid of the original document as well. Look at that, it looks symmetrical, identical, except the flakes over here. Okay, except these flakes over here, because I have kept this for you so that you can do it on your own. Alright, now look at the second frame over here. This is the same as the first one. Okay, so what you have to do is you're gonna click F on your keyboard, then phone, come to phone option and then click iPhone 11 Pro Max like this, and you're gonna get this frame over here like this. Resize it, you don't have to resize it because it's perfect measurement. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to this one over here. Okay, click over here, Alt, drag like this and then paste it over here like this. There we go. And regarding this one, inspect the corner radius, it is 40 pixel. So 40 pixel over here as well, 40, enter. And regarding the layout grid, click over here. Okay, set it to columns, 20 of gap, 20 pixel gap. Column count should be 1. Okay, enter. There we go. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna center it over here like this, at the very center vertically. Or what you can do is you can just keep it over here like this and just click it and Alt H, which means center horizontally like this. Or you also have this option over here. You see this? We have the align horizontal centers. Okay, I'm going to keep it over here like this. Click it over here. Click this. Look at that. It got centered horizontally. Alright. So I'm going to keep it over here like this according to our design over here. Alright. Now I'm going to leave this entire design on your hands, because I truly believe that you can do it on your own, because this one is similar to this one over here, the first frame over here. Okay, so I'm not doing this, you're gonna do it. Okay, including this little doodles over here. Okay, so you're gonna do this on your own as well. Now we're gonna move on to the next section over here. You see this? We're gonna make cards over here on our offered courses section. Okay, So how do we do this? Okay, so first of all, create a frame over here, F on your keyboard, okay, and then select this iPhone 11 Pro Max, okay, align it over here like this, I mean with the original document at the top like this. Look at that, we have our orange colored guides over here. Okay, now click on this, select the corner radius to 40 over here, enter. There we go. And now you're gonna stretch it till over here, as long as it doesn't snap over here at the bottom. You can see the orange colored guides. If I zoom in a little bit over here, you can see the orange colored guides. Okay, there we go. I mean it's gonna snap. Okay, you can feel it that it aligned together. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna click our frame over here by selecting this name over here and then layout grid. All right, click on this and select columns, just one column, enter. All right, now click on the original document over here and select this, not this, sorry, this one. Okay, let's inspect how much margin do we have. We have 20 pixels of margin. Okay, so this one, on our practice case, it should be 20 pixels of margin as well. So click over, click over here and select 20. Okay, enter. There we go. Now regarding this nav bar, you know the drill, right? Just copy it from here like this, Alt and then drag over here like this. There we go. And in order to center this nav bar horizontally, what you're gonna do, you remember Alt H, or select anyone, or select this option over here. Okay, all right, looks good. Keep it over here at the top. Okay, now in order to complete these designs very quickly, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to this desktop option over here. Okay, and you see this our offered courses. This is the original one and this is the practice case over here. Okay, so I'm gonna click over here and then select Alt on my keyboard and drag over here like this. All right, look at that, I have successfully copied it. And now right click, move to page what, mobile. All right, come to mobile, zoom out to find the frame. There is it, we have our frame over here. Drag it over here like this, okay, at this corner. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select this text over here along with the underline. Okay, copy it through Alt, drag like this. All right, there we go. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna shift and then resize like this, or what you can do, you're gonna hit K on your keyboard and drag like this. All right, now look at this, it is getting small proportionately. Okay, now I'm going to keep it over here. You can take the help of the orange colored guides like this. Okay, or what you can do is you can just keep it over here as it is and click it, Alt H, or select this option. Okay, align content horizontally. There we go. And let's inspect the gap between this one and the nav bar. Click this, Alt, and put your mouse over here, 38 pixels. Okay, click over here, Alt on your keyboard, put it over here, it is 59. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to just keep it over here and let's inspect right now. Alt on my keyboard, select 40. Okay, so I'm gonna click here and then press the up arrow 2 times, 1, 2. Now it's 38 accurately. All right, looks good. If you can recall, we made these cards on the desktop version. Okay, Control Z, Z, Z. Now in order to make the design for the mobile version very quickly, we're gonna take the help of auto layout. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select all our cards together like this. Okay, and then Shift plus A like this. Do you see this option over here? This is called the auto layout. Do you see this little button over here? Oh, by the way, you're gonna click this over here and then center both horizontally and vertically. Okay, like this. And now do you see this little button over here? This is activated, which is align content horizontally. Now we're gonna select align content vertically like this. You see this button over here? Click this. Now look, it made us content for our mobile version. Okay, so I'm gonna drag from here to here like this. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep it, align with our layout grid over here like this. All right, now I'm gonna select K on my keyboard, or hold Shift and then resize your cards like this, as long as it doesn't snap to our layout grid on the right. Okay, like this. Look at that. There we go. It looks quite good, I guess. Click over here and put it at the top like this. There we go. Okay, now it looks quite big compared to our design over here. So in order to adjust the settings, what we're gonna do is we're gonna click over here, double click, okay, and then double click again. double click again, as long as we don't see these blue colored lines around our image. Okay, look at the size of the image. Okay, you see this, just copy the width, Control C, and now come over here, double click, double click, double click, as long as you don't see the blue colored lines around our image. Okay, so I have selected this one, select this option. Okay, constraints properly, then paste the width over here, Control V, enter. There we go. Now let's change the text. What is the font size of this text? Okay, Control click. Now look at this, it is 50.7, just consider it 50 pixels. Okay, Control click, set it to 50, 50, enter. There we go. And yeah, select this option over here as well, auto width. So what it will do, let me show you. Okay, Control Z. What it will do, you see this extra gap over here, it's gonna remove that extra gap so that we can do our measurements accordingly, correctly. Okay, so click this over here. Now you can see that the extra gap got removed. Okay, like that. There we go. And regarding the button, let's inspect the button. What is the font size of the button? Okay, Control click like this, 24 pixels. Okay, Control click, set it to 24 over here, enter. And then look at this, we have so many gaps over here. Okay, in order to remove those gaps, just click this over here, auto width, like this. There we go. Alright, so far so good. Now look at this, we have our content on the very left side, so we need to center it both horizontal and vertically. And now let's look at our original card over here. Okay, so double click over here and look at this height over here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the height. Okay, Control C, and then come to our practice case over here. Okay, double click over here and then paste it over here like this. Okay, Control V, enter. Alright, now so far so good. Now we need to center our content both horizontal and vertically inside our card over here. Okay, so how do we do this? First of all, we're gonna unframe our frame. Okay, like this. I'm gonna click over here and then click this over here. Okay, from frame we're gonna select it to group like this. Okay, and then Control Shift G to remove that group like this. Now look, it doesn't have any auto layout over here, it is just a single plain card. And look at this over here, it is also behaving like a group. So Control Shift G, remove that group as well. Alright, now the next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna click this content over here and this button over here as well. Okay, both of them, and then Shift plus A to put it inside a frame. Okay, and then select it to 0 like this and then enter. Alright, 0 over here as well. There we go. It is removing the extra white space from our content. Okay, and now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select both the card and our content like this. Okay, and then Shift plus A. Okay, Shift A, and then center it both horizontal and vertical. Okay, you're gonna select this button over here like this and then select this button over here. Or what you can do is you can just select Alt H and Alt V on your keyboard like this. Look, Alt V H like this. There we go. Now look at this, we have so many gaps over here, but we have a minimum gap over here. Okay, so how do we remove those gaps? Okay, so let's inspect this button over here. Okay, Control click like this. Look at this properties. Okay, look at the height, it is 55 pixels. Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here and Control click like this and set the height to how much? It is set to 62. So, and it is also locked. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna select V on your keyboard and drag it a little bit up. Okay, and now set it to 55 pixels. Okay, 55, enter. There we go. Now look, this button is not at the very this text is not at the very center. What you're gonna do is you're gonna click this over here. Okay, and then center it over here like this. There we go, boom. But still we have so many gaps in our content. Okay, so let's inspect. Okay, so click over here and look at this, we have 17.66 pixels of gap. Okay, so let's set it to 0, enter. There we go. Now select both of them together again and Alt V, Alt H to center both of them, both horizontal and vertically. There we go. Our button looks exactly the carbon copy of the original one over here. Now I'm gonna leave the rest of these cards. You see this card over here and this card over here as well. I am leaving this to you. Fix them. Along with that, this design over here, you see this design, this is similar to our design. Frame number 1, this one, and frame number 2 over here as well. So do it on your own. And yeah, you're gonna do this footer over here as well on your own. Now we're gonna make the teacher's page. Okay, this one. Alright, so zoom out a little bit and delete this one. From here, delete. Alright, and then we're gonna move it to the right side. Select properly like this. Alright, so right side over here like this. There we go. And now come to the desktop version over here, and you see this page over here, the original document, this one. So I'm going to copy it from here, okay, the original design, okay. Click on the name over here, desktop 4, alt on your keyboard and drag it over here like this. Alright, now right click, move to page, which one? Mobile, like this, okay. Now come to the mobile version, zoom out, find it. Where is it? Here is it, okay. So I'm going to keep it over here at the top, and I'm going to move it, both of them. I mean all this design, little design is over here on the very right over here, okay. Now zoom in over here. Click F on your keyboard, select the iPhone 11 Pro Max like this, okay. Drag it over here like this and set the border radius, I mean corner radius to 40 over here like this. Enter. Now select this layout grid, set it to columns over here, and then count would be 1. Enter. Set the margin to 20 pixels over here. Enter. Alright, now just replicate the nav bar by Alt on your keyboard, drag over here like this. Alright, then release it like this, and then Alt H to center horizontally like this, okay. There we go. So far so good. Now look at this desktop design over here, okay. So Alt drag like this, okay. Keep it over here, and then hit K on your keyboard, okay. K, and then drag it like this, as long as it doesn't get shrunk like this, okay, like this one, the original design. Let's make it a little bit smaller like this, and then click on here, select this or Alt H on your keyboard. There we go. Keep it a little bit up like this. Alright, looks good. And now select your frame over here like this, and then hit V on your keyboard, okay, V, and then drag it to the very end over here like this. There we go. So far so good. Now we're gonna replicate the cards over here, okay. So how many cards do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 5 cards, not 6 cards as the original design on the desktop version, okay. So do you recall that how we made these cards over here, okay. So what will we use over here? The same as this one over here. You see this design over here, we made this the same as this one. We're gonna use the auto layout. How do we do this? Like this. Look, follow me, okay. I'm gonna select all my cards over here like this, Shift plus A, or right click and add auto layout like this. Look at this little button over here, okay. It is horizontal, set it to vertical like this. Look, it became designed for our mobile version. You see this, okay. I'm gonna keep it over here like this. There we go. Alright, and then I'm gonna resize it by hitting K on my keyboard and resizing like this. As long as you see this one, as long as this line doesn't align with our layout grid, okay, like this. There we go. Boom. And I'm gonna keep it over here like this. And regarding this cards over here, same thing, follow the same thing, okay. Select all of them together and then Shift plus A, and then click this over here like this. Alright, now keep it over here like this, and then resize it like this, okay. K on your keyboard and then resize like this. Actually it is very big, so I'm gonna keep it over here like this. Now what you're gonna do is, do you remember how I resized this first frame over here, okay, on our offered courses section? This one, do you remember how I resized this card according to the original design? You're gonna do the same thing over here, okay. You're gonna first of all resize this card, and then this two, and then you're gonna resize these 2 cards over here. And by the way, we don't need the last one, okay. So we can easily, we can delete this one, okay, like this, delete. We have 2 cards over here. Oh, by the way, we can also place it over here like this. There we go. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna resize these cards according to the original file over here, the original design over here. I showed you how to do it, right, over here. I showed you how to resize it according to the original design. So do it on your own. Do this section on your own, because I truly believe that you can do it. And regarding this footer over here, you don't have to recreate it again, because it is a component. This is the original component over here. Wait a minute. This is the original component over here, and this one, wait a second, this one is an instance of the original document, okay. So this is just an instance, okay. Just copy it from here, Alt, and then drag over here like this. There we go. And if you want to change something over here, just change the original document, okay. Just change over here, and everything, all the children will get changed according to the parent component. Okay, all right, now let's look how to make this contact us form. Okay, this one over here. So we're gonna create, we're gonna move this to the very right side like this, select all of them together and then drag to the right side like this. There we go. And then come over here and hit F on your keyboard, F. You're gonna click F on your keyboard and then select this iPhone 11 Pro Max like this. Keep it over here. And what was the corner radius? You remember? 40 pixels. So hit 40 over here, okay? 40, enter. Then auto layout, layout grid over here. Set it to columns over here like this, columns, and then set 1, enter. And over here, write 20 pixels of margin. There we go. Just copy the navbar from here because we made it once. Alright, and then what you're gonna write is, what you're gonna click is this one, align horizontal centers. There we go, boom. Keep it at the top like this. There we go. Or you can just use your mouse and move it like this. There we go. Keep it over here and just copy this text from here. Click and then drag like this. All right. And in order to take it, in order to keep it at the center, Alt H on your keyboard. Alt H. Move it a little bit up like this. And if you want accurate measurements, just select this and Alt on your keyboard and drag. Keep your mouse over here. It is 15 pixels. Okay. So I'm gonna click over here, keep my mouse over here like this. It is 30 pixels. Okay, so let's move it a little bit up. So how to do it? Click over here and then hold shift on your keyboard and press up like this. 1, 2. Okay, now let's inspect. Click over here, Alt on your keyboard. Look, it is 10 pixels of gap. So click over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I pressed 5 times the arrow down button on my keyboard. Like that. Look at that. It is now accurate measurements. Alright. Now copy this line from here as well. Alt, drag over here like this. Okay. Then Alt H to center horizontally. Now keep it over here at the bottom of the get in touch text. Alright. Now how to recreate them? Do you remember where are our assets? It is over here on this assets page. Alright. Not this one. This one over here. Wait a second. This one. Okay. So I'm going to select all of them together like this and then Alt drag like this. Then select all of them again, right click, move to page where? Come on, tell me. It's mobile. So come to mobile over here, zoom out to see where is it. Here is it, okay? I'm going to select all of them together like this and then select K on my keyboard and drag, or select Shift on my keyboard, okay? And then drag like this. And then it's going to get resized like that, okay? I'm going to bring it over here like this. Look at that. Okay, so it's quite big compared to this one. You can also inspect the icon size like this. Control click like this. And you can see that it is width 50 pixels and the height is 38.09 pixels. Okay, so you can do that as well. But I'm going to just use my scale tool. Okay, so I'm going to select all of them together and then hit K on my keyboard and then scale it down like this. There we go. Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select this phone over here like this. Okay, we're gonna make it horizontal like this. Okay, now let's copy the text from here. Okay, Alt drag like this, double click, Alt drag like this. Okay, or just click over here, control click over here and then Alt drag over here like this. Or what you can do is just control click over here like this and then Alt drag like this. All right, now what you're gonna do is look at this very carefully. I'm gonna select both of them together and take the help of whom? Auto layout. Okay, the boss is over here. Click it over here like this, the plus sign. All right, now keep it at the very center over here, both the text and the icon like this. There we go. Now let's keep a gap of 30 pixels, okay, between our icon and the text. Okay, the same thing for here. Shift A, click over here and center it over here like this. All right, now how much was the gap? 30 pixels. Okay, select this, 30, enter, boom. The same over here. Shift A, how much? 30, enter. Select this, keep it at the very center over here. Okay, now so far so good. It looks like this one. Okay, now if you notice carefully, then you can see that this text are not aligned to a single line. Okay, so let me bring my ruler over here like this by clicking over here, and then rulers over here like this. So I got my ruler over here. Then I'm gonna click over here and then keep my ruler over here like this. Look at that. So I'm gonna keep it over here, okay, to this line. Now if I zoom in, then you can see that the text is over here, okay, according to our ruler. And but this text doesn't align with our ruler over here. At the same time, this text doesn't align with our ruler over here. That's because the width of this icon and the width of this icon is not the same. So in this cases, what you're gonna do is you're gonna just remove that auto layout. How to remove the auto layout? Okay, click over here and select this group. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna click this and then Ctrl+Shift+G on your keyboard to remove that group. Now look, both of them behaves like an individual elements. Alright, same thing over here. Remove the frame to group and then Ctrl+Shift+G to remove that group. Come over here, select this frame to group. Okay, Ctrl+Shift+G, remove that group. There we go. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select all the text over here like this, okay, and then use auto layout, Shift+A like this. Now look, our text are at the very center over here according to our what? According to this ruler over here. You see this ruler and you see this content over here. Now if you want to, you can also use this one and then keep it over here, okay, on the left side of the horizontal line like this. Alright. Now regarding this icons over here, you can do the same. You can just use auto layout as well by clicking all of them together. Selecting all of them together and then Shift+A. And then you need to keep it at the center, both horizontally and vertically. So click over here and then click this. Alright then, so far so good, okay. Now we're gonna select all of them together like this, okay, and then Ctrl+G on your keyboard to lock the position. Alright, there we go. Look at that. It looks very nice. Now click this original document over here like this. Alright, and then Alt on your keyboard, put your mouse over here like this. How much is the gap between our address and this text? 46. Let's duplicate the same as well. Click over here and then keep it over here like this. And then Alt on your keyboard, keep it over here. How much is this? 53. So you have to go how much? 9 more steps, okay? So hit 9 times the up arrow sign, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now let's inspect, okay? Click on here, Alt, and then put your mouse over here. 44, wait a minute, it was how much? Sorry, 46. Oh, sorry, I moved 2 pixels up. So I'm gonna go 2 pixels down. So click 2 times the down arrow, okay? 1, 2. Now it's gonna be exact measurement, okay? So click on here, Alt, and then put it over here like this, 46. There we go. Now let's create this form over here, okay? So let's inspect the first one, okay? Click, Control, click over here like this. How much is the height? 63.99. Let's consider it 64, okay? So come over here, and if you want to remove the ruler, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click over here and then select this rulers, and the ruler will go away like that. Now hit R on your keyboard and drag it like this. How much was the height? 65, right? 64. All right, so I'm going to click over here and write 64, enter, and I'm going to keep it over here like this, and I'm going to drag it until I don't cover the entire width of my layout grid like that. Now what is the border radius? Corner radius is 9.36, so of the original design. So I'm going to click over here and write 9.36 over here, enter. There we go. And then add some stroke like this. How much? 3, enter. Not 3, sorry. Let's consider it 2, enter. There we go. Now you can see that this form at the top and over here are the similar, identical. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna Alt on your keyboard and drag over here like this, alright? And regarding this one, do the same over here as well. Drag it over here like this and then drag like this. There we go. Boom. And listen, let's remove our auto layout, the layout grid from here by selecting this, or you can also remove it permanently. But don't do that, okay? Just select this one and it's gonna get removed, the auto layout. So come at the bottom over here. You see this forms over here. Select this and remove the fill. And it's gonna get white, just like our original document over here, okay? Do the same for this one and do the same for this one as well. Now I'm leaving the rest of the work to you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna place this text. You see this text over here, this text, this text, this text, and the button on our practice case over here, okay? I believe that you can do it. Alright now, do you remember our last frame over here? This is the same as this one. Wait a minute. This one, this frame, the contact us frame, and this one, okay? The first frame over here, okay? The process is the same. You have to do it on your own. I'm leaving this to you. Alright guys, personally I think that this video became extremely long. So what kind of content do you want? Do you want very big, in-depth tutorial videos or short videos? Let me know in the comments down below. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with our tutorial. If you like the video, give a like, share it with a friend, and feel free to subscribe. Till then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.